The winner was B-Side Partners, which bid $6.1 million for one of the principal assets of the Archdiocese of Agana. B-Side Partners is a real estate company based in Johns Creek, a suburb of Atlanta, Georgia. The auction was part of the ongoing bankruptcy proceedings for the Archdiocese, which has been forced to sell assets to pay the more than 220 sexual abuse claims filed against former members of Guam's Catholic clergy. B-Side Partners has to make a non-refundable deposit of $100,000 in the next 45 to 60 days. The remaining $6 million must be paid in closing, which is expected to occur sometime in late November. We'll have more news after this.
Mezcla Chamorro Fusion Bistro brings you island hospitality with a true taste of modern Chamorro cuisine. A bistro look that feels like home. Their menu features local and traditional flavors with a twist. From their famous Calaguan Hafa to fresh ahi poke salad and their award-winning barbecue ribs. Mezcla takes your favorite local dishes and serves them with extra flair that you'll only find at Mezcla Chamorro Fusion Bistro. Stop by their newest location in the Grand Plaza Hotel in Tumon. For reservations, call 969-2652. Mezcla, a true taste of Guam.
Are you ready for some football? The Ray Gibson Show has got your NFL fix every Friday on Sports with Blake. Be a part of the action by going to yahoo.com's Fantasy Sports Pro Football Pick'em. Join League 3384 with the password Ray Gibson. Choose your team name and get your game on. Winners get a chance to win some awesome prizes that get you through the NFL season. The NFL Picks on The Ray Gibson Show is brought to you by Current Guam.
News time here at The Point is 10 minutes past 6 a.m. It's back to school tomorrow for the island's public school students, and once again this year, Guam DOE Superintendent John Fernandez says parents can rest assured that their children will be provided with a nutritious breakfast and lunch every day of the academic year for free. The bulk of the cost for the meals is provided by federal funding, but Guam has to put up a local share of about $5 million to cover the cost for the more than 30,000 students. Fernandez said the number of students taking advantage of the school breakfast and lunch options has increased significantly over the past year, which shows that there is a need. He also said while expanding the program to all schools does cost more, he said it's a worthwhile investment that will ensure more students have eaten a proper meal before the start of classes. Department of Administration is sending out 777 tax refund checks today, amounting to $2.1 million. The checks cover error-free returns filed on or before February 14th. As always, those who owe fines to the judiciary or payments to Guam Memorial Hospital will have their checks garnished. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now take a look at our weather.
All right, here's what we got for you today. Partly sunny and breezy conditions, some isolated showers and a slight chance of thunderstorms. South winds 15 to 25 miles an hour. Highs near 89 degrees and overnight lows should be about 78 degrees. Sunset tonight at 6:44. We watch the sunrise together at 6:07. And joining me now on the phone, Mike from the National Weather Service. Good morning, buddy. How you doing?
Yeah, good. Good morning.
Hey, listen, just checking with you because it's really nice outside. I was looking at the sunrise this morning. It looks great. Not a whole lot of clouds in the sky yesterday, and today was a beautiful day for grill marks yesterday, but really lousy on the ocean. What's going on out there?
Well, we just have the swell coming in from the northwest. It's from the, it was that typhoon or now tropical storm Crosa. It's like northwest of us, and
Yeah.
it's has a large wind field, and it's producing a lot of swell, and that's coming in our direction, producing the surf.
Now, is this isolated to just the western side of the island? Are you seeing a lot of surge on the east?
No, there's nothing on the east because that's sheltered, and it's north and west. But then there's enough. The period sometimes can cause a wraparound effect, and there's like dangerous rip currents on the south facing reefs too. But the east one is not anything.
How long do you suppose this is going to last?
Through the whole week, all the way through at least Friday at night.
Huh. Okay. So recommendation continues to be for folks to stay out of the water on that side of the island. Be careful.
Yeah, I mean, it'll become, what we have out there is dangerous surf, but when it gets below 15 feet, then it's just hazardous, and that should be maybe through tonight and then tomorrow, but it'll still be, hazardous surf, and that goes all the way through Friday night.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll keep an eye on it through Friday night. Do appreciate your time. Just wanted to figure out what the source of all of that was, and we'll continue with our weather forecast. You have a great rest of the day, Mike.
Yeah, you too.
Appreciate it. Mike Ziabro from the National Weather Service this morning. And just a quick talk about what is going on out there. And here's the displays on the weather warnings. Alerts for a high surf advisory in effect through tonight along west and north facing reefs. There's a high risk of rip currents expected through Friday night along south, west, and north facing reefs. And a high surf advisory will be in effect along from Tuesday morning through Friday along west and north facing reefs out there. And give you an idea of what the weather forecast is going to be like today. Best way to do that is to take a look at the weather radar. Michael Knight will take a look at that and give you his interpretation from our weather center here.
Yeah, we're right in between showers. Showers to the northwest are associated with Crosa, and then showers to the southeast, just usual tropical wind and rain and that sort of thing. Nothing really developed down there. And looks like we'll stay in between these two, but Crosa is slowly moving away. So as it does, those showers up to the northwest will continue to move away. Really kind of a complicated scenario out there. Crosa did what some storms do. And when you have monsoonal systems like this, what will happen sometimes is these storms will they'll kind of grow into a different kind of system. And that's what Crosa's turned into, is basically kind of a hybrid monsoon depression. Let's go to satellite real quick here. We see a huge coverage area of a storm, but not really a defined center or eye or anything, and that's just how these systems do. When they transform into these monsoonal systems, they have a more spread out wind field, more aligned along the outer peripheries and not so much towards the center. I mean, there are some strong winds around the center there, but this is what this situation has turned into, and that's why we keep having the strong southwest winds, which is why we keep having all these big waves. And this is going to continue because this monsoon system is huge and it's moving very, very slowly, and the waves are slow to die off whenever they get big. So we can look at this. Crosa's moving away. We are very on the outer fringes of the cloud field there, and then you can see those clouds down to the southeast. Nothing really going on down there.
So outside of what's happening on the oceans and the high surf advisories and the pounding surf over at the edge of the reef here, otherwise some nice days. I mean, I was able to get some grill marks yesterday.
Yeah, well, as I said, we looked like Sunday was going to be pretty good. It was either going to be good or really bad, and it turned out to be good because Crosa did not move away, and this transformation took place. For today, looking at just some isolated showers. Maybe it'll be a little breezy from the southwest, and should be an enjoyable day.
Fairly clear skies over at Pam's house. We can see that on the Facebook Live and the WhatsApp screen here, 6:15 in the morning. That's news and weather together on The Point.
65 years ago, Bank Pacific opened its doors to our community. As we celebrate, we offer you a special 65th anniversary personal loan rate for as low as 4.65%. For travel, back to school, a wedding, do whatever you want with the money. We just want to give it to you for as low as 4.65% APR. It's our birthday present to you.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal opportunity lender, member FDIC, conditions apply.
Great way to start the week is with happy hour over at Ruby Tuesday. I know it's like 6:16. He's already talking about happy hour. What's going on? Well, it's the last day of school. Last day of summer for just about everybody on Guam, and no doubt there's going to be a whole lot of running around and getting everybody ready. So my suggestion is you go take the family over to my friends over at Ruby Tuesdays. They'll take care of everything that you need out there. Incredible starters, lunches, and dinners while you're on the go. Price to please. Brand new Ruby Tuesdays favorites like dips and wings, burgers and tacos, steaks and salmon with toppers, and plenty more. Great end of the summer dinner waiting for you at Ruby Tuesdays. Portions of the program also brought to you by American President Lines, a global presence with a local home, and Cars Plus, where they have extended the summer of Jeep until the end of August. So you still got time to do the test drive on your Wrangler, your Compass, your Cherokee, or your Grand Cherokee, and find out how, with your good financing, you can get 1.99% APR on one of those brand new rides from Cars Plus in Mighty.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Get comfortable in this chair. I don't know. It's like he's leaning forward. I don't know what's some weird thing. Hey, welcome to the program. Excuse the mess. It is the Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point. My name is Ray Gibson. As usual, just crazy about being with you every single weekday morning here on the radio in the beautiful island of Guam. And what a crazy place it is. Some interesting stories that we're going to be talking about. But first, by way of welcoming myself and you to the program, let me also welcome the guys that I get to spend all morning with. Michael Knight from the National Weather Center, not National Weather Center, from the Points Weather Center here in the studio. His also alter ego is Duke Sky Talker. So his role is to take a look at what's happening on the skies and the seas and tell us all about it.
It will be national if we gain independence.
You know what? Yeah, there's a good point that you make there. So I hope that the Victoria and Ned and all those guys have they're successful doing that, so we can call it the Points National Weather Center.
There you go.
That'll be awesome. That'll be awesome. Can we get our own flag, like Esther has?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. I just think it's important now. 6:18 in the morning, and the other voice that you'll hear from time to time belongs to Kevin Kerrigan from the Guam Daily Post. Good morning. Did you have a good weekend?
I did indeed, and you?
Not bad at all. Spent most of the time yesterday. Had some opportunities for grill marks yesterday, and I took it. Although I got to say, it was kind of an interesting moment when I'm laying on the beach. And I see these two guys in the yellow shirts. I forget what they're called. It's like the patrol boys they have down in Tumon, right, from G4S. And they're pulling everybody out of the water. I mean, they're walking around and they're pulling everybody like they closed the beach or something like that. And of course, they didn't actually close the beach. But if you from where I was over by the Hyatt, you look all the way down towards where the Nico is, and there wasn't a soul in the water because these guys were walking around and doing the beauty queen wave and asking everybody to get out of the water. And I'm all about safety, but I'm all about, wait a second, under whose authority are they doing that? So I called Jenna on the radio guy WhatsApp, and from the Homeland Security said, what's going on? And apparently, out of an abundance of concern, they were asking people to get closer to the shore.
Yeah.
Okay, no, they weren't. They were asking people to get out of the water is what they were doing. I said, seems to me only the governor can shut down Tumon. I think only he has got the authority to be able to, officially close the beaches. You might recall it was, 10, 15, it was in the middle of the Camacho administration, that the second one, not the first one, that we had a situation like we've got right now. There's a storm in the area, and there was a lot of chopped water in Tumon Bay, and he closed it. And I want to say that my recollection is after a great hue and cry, public outcry, they just kind of reopened it again.
Yeah,
so it's rare that something like that is even contemplated.
Yeah, for us that live here on Guam, we realize that pounding sound out there means that the surf is up because it doesn't happen all the time.
But don't go out there.
Yeah,
I mean,
don't go out
if
there.
you're
But
near
the visitors,
shore.
yeah, visitors just don't know it, and so you do have to be a little extra careful.
Yeah.
That's why we had 2 rescues and a drowning, and those are just the ones we know about.
Well, here's this is the crazy juxtaposition of the way things are here on Guam. Sunday PDN. Hey, surf's up. Right? Everybody get out there and go and see if you can find some crank at the beach because the surf is up, according to the PDN. And that is juxtaposed with the Monday morning version of the Guam Daily Post, Rough Waters, Claim Life. So you got on one hand you got the hey, let's go out there and celebrate, and on the other hand you got the somebody has already died in the waters out there. So be very, very careful if you're out there. If you're comfortable swimming, then just awesome. Keep an eye on the kids, which is one of the things that we did yesterday as we were enjoying the grill marks opportunity behind over at the Hyatt place. 6:21 in the morning. I'm sorry, I just got so much going in my head. I've forgotten the other important part and welcoming everybody else to the show.
Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows your name.
Beautiful morning. James Howard comes in. I had to restart the system, so if anybody got kicked off in the first round of Facebook Live this morning, sorry. But my guess is that the lineup remained the same. James Howard's there. I got Mark and JB, St. Nicholas, Ismael is online at number 4. Al Batista. Are you back from South Korea yet, or are you devastated that North Korea has stopped talking to South Korea again? Crazy stuff that's happening on the peninsula, huh? James again, what have I got his name? Mark Cruz is waving at me. Ed Alberto's there. Randy Kruger. And my ironing buddy, at least she's ironing while the program is on. Therese Rigel is online with us this morning. We'll continue with the rest of the list. Looks like Heather Paris found us. So is Simon Sanchez from the Consolidated Commission on Utilities. Ismael says, my ISP is incompetent. They should be paying me for troubleshooting their problems. Gallo Perez there. John Ray Titano. Eric McKinnon saying good morning. Pat Norma Jean Flores online. Mark Mendiola. Last day of the summer of 2019, and at his house, because he's got educator at his place. So this is for him, it's the last day, and so she gets to go and buy all of the things that she needs to outfit her classroom, and then they got kids, so they've got to go out there and buy all of the things that the kids need to bring to their classrooms. Recommendation I can make is, and I'm not, is they got the Ross. Just be careful if you're going there. Apparently, there's a high shopper advisory over at Ross, and I had big sister Shelley and a few other people noting that if for the big jam that they've got of people shopping at Ross in the pre-back to school weekend, there weren't near enough people at the counters.
But it's preposterous that teachers have to supply any teaching materials for their class. That would be like you telling me, hey, man, I'll hire you, but you got to bring your own microphone.
Right. You have your own microphone. You have your own headphones here. About a chair. You have your own chair. And toilet paper. We're not supplying toilet paper, handy wipes, or photocopier paper. No. You need to bring all of that stuff yourself. Mm-hmm. And you go, will I be compensated for it? And I go, ha, 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 ha. Oh, that's a funny one. That's so funny. You're a funny guy.
Not only that, but you won't get a pay raise when it's time.
Yeah. Bob Lizam is online. I got my pal Ismail who says, public service notice due to technical difficulties. The race to first place on the Ray Gibson Show will always go to Hillary Clinton. Ooh, and there's a lot of talk about Hillary in the chat or in the Twitters, right? Jeffrey Epstein?
You know they took him out, bro. Come on. There were too many powerful names on his list, and
right?
I wouldn't even say it was the Clintons. I think it was somebody else down that list.
Could have been. The conspiracy theories are flying left and right. We'll talk more on that in a minute. Evergreen South is on. Vivian Cunningham, Timmy Lohan, Big Sister Shelley, Gerard Estoy, good morning to you. Leah Beth Nahalawa, I just like saying Nahalawa. Pat Gumabon Sablan is online. Emmett Tanya Affligwe Conception is there. Mo Cotton, Big Sister Shelley getting a hug and a kiss from Pam Duvall. Patrick Bumba, Nate Horn is there. Linda Gabriel is online. Lillian Cruz. Hey, Lee Stolly, nice to see you there. Cheryl Ochai. Greg Karabrock from Take Care. Chris Chip. Oh my God, you're early. You normally see you until 9 o'clock. Did you wake up early, or did you just not go to sleep from yesterday yet? What's the plan here? Is that classified? James Howard, allow myself to introduce myself. Pilar Laguanya from the Guam Visitors Bureau is online. I got Charlene Marcia. So Landon Adlet, Michael Knight is there. Oh, I know Michael Knight. The same guy I was just talking to a second ago. Sabine B. Natchargalos feels strange to wake up to you instead of waiting to get off work with you. We're waking up together. Should we notify? Should we start to register there, Sabine?
I didn't see that on your Facebook, right?
I normally would. Who else is playing Rut Rose Greeno, Andre Bainham. Andre, we're gonna call you, buddy. I'm sorry, I gotta call you because I'm just absolutely delighted that you are back in the editorial game. Over the weekend, I saw this. Guam politics doom us to an endless cycle of distractions. I love this, and you make some good points using the idea of Groundhog Day, using that as to lay the foundation of your editorial. One of my favorite Bill Murray movies. Thank you, Andre. I appreciate that. Who else is playing around? Do I get any new guys, new faces, new names? That's cool. A couple of ways to do this, and you might go, why does he say the name of people that are watching? Because it's fun, number one. It's nice to be able to reintroduce family and friends. There's Janice Wong listening out in Honolulu, Hawaii, I believe. But it's nice to see and acknowledge the people that are part of this broadcast on a virtually daily basis. And then there's a bunch of other people, dozens and dozens, maybe hundreds of other people that you don't see because they're watching on YouTube Live, or you're watching on thepoint.gu, or the Guam Daily Post has a website where you can watch the proceedings of the program. I can't see you and acknowledge you, but what the heck. Plus, the other thing is, you got movers and shakers and headline makers. We've got some highly attractive customers for businesses that are online, that are watching the program here. It's my way of letting the other advertisers know this is a great place to spend your advertising dollars. I mean, Simon Sanchez, every day. Mark Mandiola, the guy that runs the Ed board every single morning. Just to name a few. Ismael Velez, for heaven's sakes. Anyway, 6:27 in the morning, 888-8255. That's the telephone number if you want to get a hold of me. 888-8255. You got the WhatsApp at 988-5874. That's 988-5874. And the WhatsApp and the Twitters and everything has been absolutely crazy over the last couple of days. Was he or was he not on suicide watch? You know, we rarely ever delve too much into national and international politics, but this one here is just, it's crazy. I mean, even, what's her name? Ocasio-Cortez had tweeted out, "Oh, we're going to want plenty of answers here. There's going to have to be lots and lots of answers on this question of what exactly happened to this guy." Yeah, he was brought in to operate in a sex trafficking ring, and various names of very highly placed people in the halls of deep government have been named to be in association with this guy. And I don't know, you know, if you wake up early enough on Mondays, you're Joe Pags, and his program for the last couple of hours has all been talking with guys from various departments of corrections that know what suicide watch means, and just everything that goes into all of the observation, the protocol, and the situations that arise out of a suicide watch situation. And something must have happened. There must be some grand conspiracy where somebody was looking the other way, and they offed him, made it look like a suicide. And let me just say this, guys. Every once in a while, I feel like that. I feel I need to do this. If my body is ever found someplace and they say, "Oh, yeah, it looks like a suicide," find my killers.
Yep.
Find my killers. It's not a suicide. I'm not depressed. There's nothing. I've got no demons. There is nothing. I've got no weird Robin Williams things that's happening. If it looks like suicide somewhere, go find my killers. Avenge my death. Thank you very much. And I'm sure that the family of this Epstein guy saying the same thing. What do you mean, suicide? There's no suicide. This guy was ready to go to trial. He was ready to start naming names.
Yeah, I would follow along with you. I mean, I'm a mess, but I would never
Right.
off myself. So here's something to put in your conspiracy cup. During this investigation, they're going to find several minutes of missing video because you're supposed to be videotaping all of these things. And they're going to find about, it doesn't take long to hang somebody. So you find 5 minutes of missing video in this thing somewhere along the line that's going to correspond with when this dude hung himself.
Right. Mark Cruz already. Prince Andrew of the royal family on the list. Is that a fact? Was that one of those things? Which one of the Clintons were on it? Were Bill and Hillary on the list? Any other big names of deep state and the Democratic Party that just could not survive the kind of outing that this guy might have been able to get him? I mean, just everything. But when it gets into the sex trafficking world, and you know, dealing with hustling minors for dough and drugs. Ooh.
Well, let's keep in mind, we lean a little right here, but that list had right, left, middle, upside down, and all other kinds on it.
As I said, deep state. You know, the deep state knows no real political flags and all of that. Anyway, it's an interesting story, and one of my favorite This will turn into a movie. But there was Pags was talking to a guy about 4:30 this morning who rang in and already had pretty much the all three acts of the play. Which were guy goes to jail, suicide watch, ends up being dead from the suicide. Wasn't really a suicide. They've exchanged the body with a look-alike, and you know, so they've got enough to be able to take it through the autopsy. They pulled Epstein out and are taking him someplace now where he can get some kind of facial surgery so that he can defeat any of the facial recognition cameras and all that, and change the color of his eyes and do one of those Fu Manchu things on his face, turn him into somebody completely different, and he'll be able to continue to roam the world and allow for sex treats for all of the people on his pervert list.
Well, you know, with the names of people that he had on his list, that's not really that far out of the question because they all have enough money to do it as he does.
He's still alive, guys. Hello, billionaire friends or head of state friends. Yeah, it's all of that. So this got to be like Super Bowl Monday for guys like Michael Knight and James Howard, who absolutely love their conspiracy theories. And if you've got some, you're more than welcome to bring it. But you know, for me, I kind of like the conspiracy theories that we've got floating around on Guam. I think there's more than ample curiosities around here why things happen and who gets certain deals and all of that stuff. Maybe we'll spend some time riffing on that as the program goes. 888-8255 is the number for the audio. If you want to yak with me on the Facebook or on the WhatsApp, 988-5874. Send me your picture, send me your video, send me your conspiracy theories. It's 6:32 and time for the first look at headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, the Medical Cannabis Regulation Commission Friday voting unanimously to petition Guam lawmakers to revise their spending plan to include funding for implementation of the long-stalled medicinal marijuana program. In its 2020 budget request, the Department of Public Health asked for $750,000 from the Healthy Futures Fund to pay for the program. Governor Leon Guerrero included that amount in her 2020 spending plan, but the legislature's budget proposal, Bill 186, leaves out any money for the program. Andrea Pellicani told fellow commissioners Friday that 20,000 people voted for it, and I don't know that the lack of money is going to fly anymore. Pellicani is the managing partner of Grassroots Guam and a non-voting member of the commission. She said she's already appealed to Finance Committee Chair Senator Joe San Augustine, but the senator told her there is no mandate to fund medicinal cannabis program with the Healthy Futures Fund. Pellicani said San Augustine also said that the licensing fees were intended to fund the program. Commission member Aline Yamashita suggested Pellicani draft a message to lawmakers urging inclusion of the funding requested in the 2020 budget, and the commission unanimously agreed. The attorney representing former Guam State Historic Preservation Officer Linda Uggan has filed an adverse action appeal with the Civil Service Commission, suggesting there is a hidden agenda behind her termination. Attorney John Bell filed the appeal on behalf of Uggan last Tuesday. It appears management terminated Uggan as a punitive manner, Bell wrote, which is strictly prohibited. He asked the CSC to dismiss or modify the adverse action that led to Uggan's firing. Department of Parks and Rec Director Richard Ibanez fired Uggan June 18th. He cited misuse of a government vehicle and unprofessional conduct. In his appeal, however, Bell called the adverse action notice little more than a laundry list of petty grievances, indicating management decided it was going to throw everything at the wall to see what sticks. The CSC is scheduled to hear Bell's motion to void Uggan's termination September 17th. Guam Department of Education, Guahan Academy Charter School, and the Office of the Governor are working on an agreement to allow the charter school to use Building E in Tiedzin. The building is one of a number of buildings in Tiedzin leased by Gov Guam. Guam DOE is utilizing part of the leased compound, as is Guahan Academy Charter School, the only charter school to occupy a Guam DOE-leased property. Concerns have been raised about Guahan Academy's use of the Guam DOE-leased facility and the charter school's desire to occupy even more space on the property. Guam DOE spokeswoman Isa Baza says Guahan Academy Charter School and Guam DOE are now close to finalizing an agreement that would provide space in Building E for both. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Okay, got it. 6:35, and that is iConnect time. Swing by the nearest iConnector, call them, and ask them how they can save you money on your mobile and internet plans. 888-8888.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Family Finance in Agutya at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
6:35, no traffic in front of Kmart right now, so if you're going to do back to school, you might want to think about hitting the road and doing back to school now, Mom and Dad, before the real rush hits a little bit later on this morning. And it will happen. Mark my words. I've been working around here for the last 3 years, and every year it's back to school. It gets crazy in that parking lot, so I'd see if you can swing by right about now at 6:36. Looking at other traffic, Marine Corps Drive, not Marine Corps Drive, but in front of the airport over by the rent-a-car section, you will see some traffic moving in both directions, but it will be moving slow. 8, 10, and 16, not so bad right now. 10 and 16 looking okay. And where's the rest of the trouble going to end up being? 10 and 15 is probably going to busy up a little bit later on, so watch out for that. 4 and 10 starting to look a little bit busy as people making their way towards and away from Father Duenas Memorial. Traffic inbound Marine Corps into the Agana area on Route 4 looking pretty good. A little bit of a traffic situation working with in the area between the Tutuhan Park and the Navy Hospital. Watch for traffic to begin to build up through that area there. Polaris Point's running clear this morning and all the way down to Sumai should be okay. But you will slow down when you get to the gate. Honest, it's 6:37. That's right now. Traffic on the point.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
Morning talk that matters. It's the Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Jeffrey Epstein. Body retrieved, body removed while he was alive from a maximum security prison where he was supposed to be under suicide watch. Body replaced. Now he's going to go undergo plastic surgery, make him look like a Korean mama-san. I'm going to bring him out to Guam, where he'll run a place down in Anigua and be able to continue all of that depraved work that he was doing before.
No, they'll turn him into a Russian, and then he'll come here seeking asylum.
Oh, yeah. Did you print me that story?
I did.
Have you noticed that there's more and more people running around speaking the Russian language, but they aren't running around with $100 bills hanging out of their pockets like before on what are they now, seeking asylum?
Yeah, got two families that have moved in over the past year just in Maya complex that I know of for sure. So and they are Russian, believe me.
Okay,
You see them at the store, you hear them talking. There's no question.
I'll take a look at that story here. No doubt to influence the 2020 elections.
Yeah,
and ensure another victory for Donald Trump. 6:38 in the morning. Actually, I think the Democrats are going to do that. All right, back to the Facebook Live. Who's playing around here? We got hey, cousin Troy is out there doing his morning thing. Good to see you there. Kaz Endo is online. So is Joe Bloss. Jeff Jones from Triple J Enterprises. Good morning. Nice to see you over the weekend. James Howard. Jula, what's he saying now? Lanya, just go black market for a sunshine period to raise the money. Like gambling at the carnival, we can make $1 million in 3 days. Done deal. If you've got the plan, all right, we might want to work on that. Levon Guerrero Meno, Lynn Vince, Borja Polino, and Richard Clark online. And that'll round things out for right about now as I take a look from that screen to a couple of the other screens that I've got. Fox News Live this morning. Booker and Beto blast Trump for retweeting conspiracy theory linking Epstein's death to the Clintons. Plausible deniability. Even the president of the United States is getting into it. I haven't seen his tweet on that yet, but no doubt it's going to be interesting. No doubt it's going to be inflammatory. And no doubt it is something that the drive-by media is going to go crazy on until we find out it's true. All right. So you got the telephone numbers, right? 888-8255, 888-TALK. And among the interesting stories that have made their way to where I work here in the morning is the hotel, the Action. Hotel. That's what it started off as, and then it became a Redemptorist Mater and in the hands of the Archdiocese. They have sold that off now at auction. I don't know what the building originally cost. I'm told it was upwards in the tens of millions of dollars. $65-70 million worth of hotel that has now been auctioned on the block for about $6.1 million, $100,000 deposit. Coming soon, then I imagine the rest of the money will be held into escrow to help become part of that seed capital that is going to pay for all of the claims against the Archdiocese and a variety of the folks that have been implicated in all of these different pedo schemes that they've got going on there. Interesting to say the least, in that it has been bought not by a local company, not by a local concern. There were a couple of people that had their hat in the ring for that one, but it doesn't look like they were able to come up with a cash down that was going to be required for everything. B-Side is the name of the outfit that was able to come up with it. B-Side Partners, and check them up on the World Wide Web. And this is what it says about B-Side Partners: built on a foundation of 36 years of multifamily real estate experience, developing, managing, and renovating affordable student and market rate housing communities. Our primary investment targets are student housing sites with new development opportunities and assets in close proximity to campuses with value-added potentials. Then it goes on to why why they call themselves B-side, stuff like that. But I thought it was interesting. They had a couple of before and after pictures. These are the before and after pictures of I presume would be, crappy kitchens that they found, and they turned them into not crappy kitchens. Kind of a lackluster exterior in what should be a resort. Well, you put some Tony lights out there, some plants, and recolor the water. Well, all of a sudden it's pretty again. So it's possible that these guys could be coming in, take advantage of the fairly low price to buy the Action Hotel and use that to turn this thing around and maybe an eastern side of the island kind of fancy hotel. Although, I'm talking to Bart Jackson about it earlier. He knows the thing about the hotel games is there's nothing to do over there. You go there and then you drive for a little bit, Pirates Cove, okay, drive a little bit further and maybe go and eat at McCrouts.
Yeah, I know. In this case, I think these people plan on turning it into housing for UOG.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. I don't know. We'll see when we see. As Kevin says, we'll have to watch and see what these guys end up doing with it. I'm just going to be delighted to see somebody is going to be putting some attention on that for a little bit. 6:42 in the morning. My very close, very dear personal friend, and generally usually has something to say around back to school time. Guam politics doom us to endless cycle of distractions. My friend Andre Bainema on the line. Good morning, Andre. How you doing, man?
Good morning, Ray. How are you?
You know what? Amused. It's Monday. I'm generally amused about things. It was an interesting weekend, to say the least. Some interesting headlines that are floating around and some interesting stories that we get to play around with. But at the end of the day, we got to come back to what's going on in the government of Guam. And I think you've about hit the nail on the head, using Groundhog Day as the vehicle to make a point about this endless repetition of distractions, then disappointment, distractions, then disappointment.
Yeah, some people were saying it was kind of fatalistic and, the hopelessness of it all. But, I think of it as just more of the realization and the reality of the situation is we continue to have a government year after year, administration after administration that says one thing and does the actual opposite, and it leaves us in the same place as where we were, year and month and the day before.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you were to take a look at I think the bill that authorized the BPT increase, there was a provision in there that talked about how they were going to try and restructure this government, and none of that happened.
No, it's baloney. It's baloney. It's the same, business privilege tax. There was a conversation about, this is going to be temporary, and we're going to make the necessary changes to the expenditures in the government of Guam. And I knew that was never going to happen. I knew that was just bola, and I was right.
Yeah, but those bola, that BS that comes out of these politicians, we, the regular citizens, we actually rely on those things because it will increase our quality of life if you just do what's right for the people and not the same operations and the same course that you've been doing in the past. It's just it's not sustainable, and
well, it's not sustainable for us. It's not sustainable for us. It's sustainable for them.
It's not. Exactly, and to talk in such a cavalier way about travel. And if you don't like it, run for governor. And, we didn't make a mistake. We made an error. And just all this spin and excuses and BS. It's just, it becomes tiring. And, Bill Murray took a whole pot of coffee and downed it just to, try and make some sense of what's going on. And I think a lot of people I'm hearing out there, talking to them, and they say the same thing. They're like, wow, this is not what we expected. And I said, well, that's the way that.
Yeah, I was willing to give it time, but I mean, it's August already. It's back to school in this first year of the new administration, and I'm going, what has happened? And this is not just Lou and Josh. I mean, this is everybody. We've got a 35th Guam legislature. We've got this administration, and there were a lot of people that were super hopeful because there should have been a harmony of interest where women were all Democrats, and we're going to work together with each other and just really make things work around Guam. And I'm looking at things going, what has anybody done that has improved my life? What has this administration done? What has the legislature done? What has the government accomplished in the last 8 months that literally have improved our lives here on Guam? Can you think of any one thing
It really again the op-ed and the commentary that I posted and that I wrote up. It's just about reality, and you come down to it. It doesn't matter what gender you are. It doesn't matter what ethnicity you are. Politicians are politicians, and they're gonna say what they can to get into office, and then they're gonna try to hold on to power, and they're gonna try and grease palms and help all their supporters, and it's just not that type of government is just not sustainable. I mean, we're just too big. We're too big, and politics from 30 years ago and running the island from 30 years ago, it's just not going to work. Today. So like I was going to say, the wife went out and spent like $400 on groceries and had like about 8 or 9 bags. And I'm like, what in the world? What did you buy? And she didn't buy anything extravagant. There was no steak and lobster or anything like that. It was just basic necessities and foodstuffs and things like that. And it was it's just not good for the everyday person. And again, the government needs to do their part. They asked us to bear with this DPT thing for a little while and until they get things straight. But things are not straight at all. They're more crooked than they've ever been.
Well, you make a good point in the editorial, Andre, where you say we are distracted by spin and excuses by the people that define the news we consume and are inundated with issues that have no direct impact on our daily lives. Balloons and trees and anti-military sentiment have taken up the public discourse where we instead should be talking about the issues that John Fernandez and Mark Mendiola face every day at the Department of Education, where we should be talking about what we're going to do about health care, what we're going to be doing about mental health in this community, what we're going to be doing about public safety.
Absolutely. Not to say that those issues are not important, because everybody has a voice.
But the tree is being directed. I disagree. I think the tree issue is being addressed and has been being addressed since 1998 by the military, by the same federal government that everybody thumbs their nose at around here, and it uses to drive a wedge between the community. And this nonsense with balloons. Oh my God. My heart cannot bleed enough for the turtles and the dolphins that are eating balloons. But you know what? I had a guy that showed up at my house at 9:30 at night, high on drugs, looking for Jenna. And if he wasn't going to find Jenna at my house, my thinking is that he wanted to home invasion me. So I'm sorry. You guys are playing around with solutions, out looking for problems instead of addressing the problems that are out there.
Exactly, and that's why I put that it has taken up the public discourse for the past 8 months. That's all we've been talking about, and that was my thing. Not to say that they're not important. And Ray, you have your opinions too, and that's perfectly fine. But again, for the entire time, that's all we're talking about is the damn tree and the balloons and the anti-military, get out of here kind of stuff. But when you go to the store and you purchase something, these are the everyday issues people deal with that they're just not tackling. And that's where the frustration, the endless loop comes in. And, at least we've come to the point where we understand that the people are doing their part. The sad part is our leaders have not realized yet what is truly important to the people. And that's buying shoes and food and being able to go to the clinic and just, driving safe on roads and, just basic things like that. That's all we ask for. It's just simple, basic stuff. And sometimes I'm thinking maybe that's too much. Maybe we're asking for, we're asking this government to do things that just kind of, too much.
Your buddy Ken LG's online saying that they have improved the lives of all of the sign waivers by giving them high-paying jobs with the government. Those of you that put away the folding chairs and loaded the tables and did the barbecue at the fundraisers, well, congratulations. We've got all kinds of time. Who's talking on the air with me? Sorry about that. I probably should introduce him more often. That's the voice of Andre Bainham, and I'm making reference to his Voice of the People article over the weekend about Guam politics doom us to an endless cycle of distractions and disappointment. So that's what we're talking about. We didn't have frowny faces on Friday, so we got to get one or two in this morning. What do you got planned? You're not still with DOE, right?
There was some openings for a teacher. I looked at my license and my credentials and I applied.
Oh, so and they need teachers. It's not like they don't need teachers. They stick you back up at Simon Sanchez?
I'm back up at Simon Sanchez.
Nice, nice. Well, you watch the rebuild. If there's anything that you need, any way that we can help with publicity and the kids as they drive awareness of what school is like going in. My friend Pam sent me a picture over the weekend of a bunch of junk cars on the side of the road on the way into Simon Sanchez. Has that been cleared up yet?
I was there on Friday and I saw those cars, so it'll be a nice greeting for our children.
What, isn't that going to be nice? Yes. Welcome to your first day of school. By the way, we've got these junk cars right in front of the school now. I'm trying to remember who's responsible for that, whether it's the mayor's responsible for cleaning up the side of the road or whether it's the Department of Education, because that's where the school is. But at the end of the day, it's the government's responsibility. So if your mayor can't get it done up there, then he is the king of the useless.
Hey, you know what? All we're asking for here, the people, is just the basics: safety, education, and healthcare. Just the basics. That's all we're asking for.
All right, buddy. Well, no, it's the basics, and clean up the roadway. That's a hazard for the kids. All right, buddy. I'm going to let you run. It's always fun talking with you. Welcome to the last day of the summer of 2019. Looking forward to hearing your reports of attending school tomorrow.
Thank you, Ray. I appreciate it.
All right, man. 888-825-5888-TALK. Professional Development Day, I understand, is what it is for all of the educators here on Guam. It's not a day off for them. The educators went in for, what did they have? Some big conference on Friday, got everybody together and talked about, of all things, customer service. I thought that was interesting. And was it sexual harassment and compliance issues, I think, came up in that conversation. I don't know if drugs came up. Drugs in the workplace and drugs in school, my guess is at least somebody probably made a nod towards that. Pam Duvall online saying, bong sound because it's Monday. Honey, it's 6:53 in the morning. I think it's a little early for the bong sound. Can we wait until about 9 o'clock? Manami Ijima Martin is online with us. Who else is playing around? Jose Flynn. And as I said, Cousin Troy. Cousin Troy, you know that voice, Cousin Troy. Cousin Troy, did you not make a big noise about Andre working for the Department of Education while he was trying to get Frank Uggan elected? I thought that was the case from back in those days. Darlene Blas is there. And in this case, Troy says, I agree with him. Tommy Higa's there. Hey, cuz. Nice to see you there. Francie Salas as well. 888-825-5888-TALK. A few other items in the table of contents that I think are kind of interesting. And I'd love to tell you that they're all in this morning's Guam Daily Post, but it's Monday, and on Mondays, I've got 3 daily posts to get through, 3 PDNs to get through, all of the scripts from all of the big, the television newscasters. So, and that's what I do. I don't actually go out and gather news myself. You know me, I'm too lazy for that. I am a consumer of news just like you, and those news stories that I read generate an opinion, sometimes a strong opinion, sometimes one of those where, I'm still kind of on the fence on stuff. I'll give you a perfect example of this, is government-sanctioned travel in this town. And the idea that I refer now to the governor of Guam, Lilian Guerrero, as our visiting governor, because it seems to me she's out of town all the time. And then Josh Tenorio, who has gone, the story in the Guam Daily Post outlines the number of trips that he's taken and highlights one that he's going to be going on again. And this one here is apparently we are not getting, how do you want to say this, shortage of federal funds. We're not getting our max share of these federal funds. So there's this training that's going to be going on, and they've invited him to go out and sit on some of that training. Guam is an isolated district, he says, and federal authorities may not focus on its need, requiring local officials to bring Guam's issues to the forefront. I think that's the purpose of a lot of the travel that you're thinking about, he said to a reporter. OEA Western Regional Director Gary Kuwabara has asked Tenorio to meet with him and Region 9 technical staff so they may deal with the underspending of federal funds here on Guam. How is it possible that we're not spending all this free dough we're getting from the federal government? In my mind, it's how much of that has obligations for us to match these federal dollars. And if we can't match the federal dollars, we're not going to be able to get every single Fed Uncle Sam penny that is coming our way. The goal, he says, is to establish a training program on Guam to assist 60 government officials in federal funds management. Travel is required because local officials are meeting with multiple agencies and they all can't come to Guam. Yeah, they can. In the end, officials will have to ensure off-island travel has value to the people of Guam. And voters, quote, here it comes. This is the let them eat cake statement. Voters will make their decisions during the election time whether or not they agree with us, Tenorio said. Which is about the same as what he said a few weeks ago when he was probed. He said, if you don't like it, run for governor yourself, I think is the line. But again, I'm on the fence on this, because if it means that he can come back with more federal checks, with both fists full of federal dollars, I'm okay with that kind of travel. But if it's just, hey, we had a pride parade, so I'm going. I'm going to represent Guam at the pride parade. Yeah, I don't know if that does a whole lot for us. Hey, I'm in Washington, New York City, and think I'm going to go and hang out with the guys at the United Nations and tell them that the United States has been bad to us since we've been colonized individuals. I don't know that I'm crazy about the government spending on that kind of thing. The UN, the airplanes go in both directions. I'm sure that we could find some of those people that hate the United States and have them fly to Guam. I don't know why taxpayers around here have got to pay for all of that. So that's a little bit in my head why I'm kind of on the fence on those things. What you look like you wanted to say something.
I was going to agree with you. I mean, as long as the government's not paying for it, he can go to all the gay pride things he wants to go to. If it's out of his own pocket.
Have a really good time. Anyway, 6:58 and change coming up in the next couple of minutes is going to be headlines and news from Fox News Network, and then we got Kevin Kerrigan from the Guam Daily Post. He's got all kinds of interesting stories that we'll be riffing on this morning. And there's a question I got to ask you guys on Facebook. Somebody on Facebook Live will be able to answer this question for me. Who is Menzies Aviation?
Yeah.
Who is Menzies? Do you know who they are?
Yeah, they're at the airport. Actually, it's a nationwide company that they basically run commuter airlines. So they help do the fueling, they help do the cleaning, they do supply some of the catering to very small planes.
They have an opening for passenger service agent, foreign language speakers, immediate hire for Korean speakers. Do they operate these little tiny airplanes between here and Korea?
I don't know that they do that, but I'm sure they do fly between here and Saipan, Hiroshima, and things like that. So
you think maybe they're going to open something up just for Korean travel between here and there? I'm, like I said, kind of curious about this. They're looking for a certified electrician, must be a high school graduate or equivalent. This immediate hire for Korean speakers is exactly that. Must be able to speak fluently enough to communicate effectively. Reading and writing is a plus, and so if you've got those skills, if you've got damnida, then go and check out Menzies Aviation. I was wondering if maybe we had a new player in the game around here, and maybe somebody that might be able to do a little bit more flying between here and some of the places in the region that I'd like to visit. Don't necessarily need to always travel to the same big airlines. If I can travel one of the small budget guys, that's cool too. 7 o'clock in the morning. Again, the radio station is KUSG Hagutnia. It is the Ray Gibson Show until 10 o'clock this morning. Monday, as a matter of fact, the last of the summer days of 2019. Moms and dads, make it count. Get that shopping in early so you got the rest of the day to plan to ease the anxieties or the joys that your kids may have about going back to school. Yeah, I don't know about that joy stuff. I was always anxious right up until the first day of school. Anyway, they got news coming up next. This is The Point.
5 children dead in an early morning daycare fire. I'm Jane Metzler, Fox News. The fire started just after 1 o'clock this morning at a daycare center in Erie, Pennsylvania. Police here say the youngest victim was just 8 months old. Unclear how that fire started. On the lam since Wednesday, an escaped convict caught. 44-year-old Curtis Ray Watson captured in a soybean field about 10 miles from the Western Tennessee Correctional Facility. He showed up at Harvey Taylor's front door around 3:30 this morning. His Ring doorbell showed the convict rummaging through a refrigerator on the carport.
I was frightened at first.
When you recognized who it was?
When we recognized who it was there, it heightened it.
DA Mark Davidson saying
Curtis Ray Watson went from being a escaped convict to being a criminal defendant facing charges of first-degree murder, aggravated sexual battery, especially aggravated burglary, and escape.
Watson accused of the sexual assault and strangulation death of 64-year-old Deborah Johnson, the prison administrator who lived in a house on the grounds.
Deborah Johnson was 38 years in this department. I had never met anyone that was more professional, more dedicated to the mission of the Tennessee Department of Corrections than Deborah Johnson.
Tennessee Corrections Commissioner Tony Parker. Guards should have checked on sex trafficking suspect Jeffrey Epstein every 30 minutes. Federal prison officials tell the New York Times that did not happen. The AP reporting the guards say they were overworked. Epstein, accused of sexually assaulting dozens of young girls, found dead in his cell yesterday morning, dead by hanging, apparently. Preliminary autopsy results expected this afternoon. This is Fox News.
Parents, start your child's school year right with healthiness and fun. Complete your child's immunizations, annual physical, dental, or eye exam at FHP and receive a free gift for each exam visit. Perfect for back to school. Valid from July 15 to August 31st or while supplies last. Visit their website or Facebook page for more details. Call 646-5825 and press 2 to schedule an appointment today. Most private insurance accepted. FHP Health Center, our island, your clinic.
Hey, do you know what time the bank closes? I need to deposit my check.
You know you can do that from your phone.
I can?
With Bank of Guam's mobile app, it's easy. Just endorse the back and snap a pic to deposit it into your account. You can do this from anywhere, anytime, which means no rushing to catch the bank and no lines.
With Bank of Guam's mobile app and online banking, we're always open. Visit bankofguam.com for more information. Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Member FDIC.
After President Trump retweeted conspiracy theorists blaming the Clintons for Epstein's death, Kellyanne Conway defended the president on Fox News Sunday, saying the president, too, was falsely accused.
I think the president just wants everything to be investigated. And, trying to connect the president to this monster from years ago where they're seen dancing in a video versus other people who were actively, I suppose, flying around with this monster.
A lawsuit filed, then dropped days before the election by a woman who claimed Donald Trump raped her at Epstein's mansion in 1994 when she was 13. A man arrested in Cleveland, now $50 million richer.
A jury has awarded $50 million to an East Cleveland man who claimed cops beat him while he was handcuffed and locked in a storage closet for 4 days with no toilet and nothing to eat or drink but a carton of milk. Arnold Black, who was arrested on drug charges, claimed the ordeal led to bleeding on the brain and memory and balance problems. The award came after Black's second jury trial. His earlier $22 million award was overturned on appeal. It's unclear whether East Cleveland can pay the damages. It's considered one of the poorest cities in Ohio. Sue Gosman, Fox News.
A former Eagle Scout due to go on trial in Salt Lake City tomorrow, 29-year-old Aaron Shamo, accused of running a multi-million-dollar opioid drug ring out of his apartment there. Prosecutors say the operation was one of the largest in the country, selling fentanyl to thousands. That ring blamed for at least one death. Shamo's lawyer denies he was the ringleader and that his partners pointed the finger at him after they accepted plea agreements. At the weekend box office, the winner again,
Hobbs and Shaw.
It made another $25.4 million. I'm Jane Metzler, and this is Fox News.
65 years ago, Bank Pacific opened its doors to our community. As we celebrate, we offer you a special 65th anniversary personal loan rate for as low as 4.65% for travel, back to school, a wedding. Do whatever you want with the money. We just want to give it to you for as low as 4.65% APR. It's our birthday present to you.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal opportunity lender, member FDIC, conditions apply.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
Mescla Chamorro Fusion Bistro brings you island hospitality with a true taste of modern Chamorro cuisine. A bistro look that feels like home. Their menu features local and traditional flavors with a twist. From their famous Kelaguen Hapa to fresh ahi poke salad and their award-winning barbecue ribs, Mescla takes your favorite local dishes and serves them with extra flair that you'll only find at Mescla Chamorro Fusion Bistro. Stop by their newest location in the Grand Plaza Hotel in Tumon. For reservations, call 969-2652. Mescla, a true taste of Guam.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 7 a.m. this Monday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. The old Axion Hotel was auctioned off during a bid process conducted in district court on Friday. The winner was B-Side Partners, which bid $6.1 million for one of the principal assets of the Archdiocese of Agana. B-Side Partners is a real estate company based in Johns Creek, a suburb of Atlanta, Georgia. The auction was part of the ongoing bankruptcy proceedings for the Archdiocese, which has been forced to sell assets to pay the more than 220 sexual abuse claims filed against former members of Guam's Catholic clergy. B-Side Partners has to make a non-refundable deposit of $100,000 in the next 45 to 60 days. The remaining $6 million will be paid on closing, which is expected to happen in late November. Dangerous surf swept one swimmer over the reef in Tumon yesterday. The swimmer was pulled from the water around 2:30 yesterday afternoon, and Guam Fire and Rescue medics rushed the person to Naval Hospital. CPR was performed en route, reports GFD spokeswoman Charika Chargalov. The condition of the swimmer at this time is not known. A half hour earlier in Maritzo, GFD personnel rescued two women who were in distress about 200 yards out in Billy Bay. On Friday, Guam police confirmed a man who had been fishing at the Maritzo Pier drowned. Officials are encouraging residents and visitors alike to be aware. The National Weather Service has a high surf warning in effect throughout tonight. A high surf advisory will be in effect through Friday night as large west swells continue to generate dangerous surf along west and north-facing reefs, creating dangerous swimming conditions. We'll have more news after this.
Half a day. Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. I'm Jade Uggan of Umatic, and this is where I start my day. Listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Protehi itanonmo. Protect your land. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Coast 360 introduces our new youth banking program. Give your kids and teens a head start with Kids 360 and Teen 360, a program designed to help your child develop smart financial habits and learn about money. Introduce them to banking and get them on a path towards a thriving financial future. Plus, new youth members get a special lunch tote just in time for back to school, while supplies last. Learn more at coast360fcu.com or visit your favorite member center. Coast 360 Federal Credit Union. Together, we thrive. Terms and conditions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
10 minutes past 7 a.m. here at The Point. The Medical Cannabis Regulation Commission Friday voted unanimously to petition Guam lawmakers to revise their spending plan to include funding for implementation of the long-stalled medicinal marijuana program. In its 2020 budget request, the Department of Public Health asked for $750,000 from the Healthy Futures Fund to pay for the program, but the legislature's budget proposal leaves out any funding for it. Andrea Pellicani told fellow commissioners Friday that 20,000 people voted for it, and I don't know that the lack of money is going to fly anymore. Pellicani is the managing partner of Grassroots Guam and a non-voting member of the commission. She said she has already appealed to Finance Committee Chair Senator Joe San Augustine, but the senator told her there is no mandate to fund medical cannabis program with the Healthy Futures Fund. Pellicani said San Augustine told her that the licensing fees were intended to pay for the implementation of the program. Commission member Aline Yamashita suggested Pellicani draft a message to lawmakers urging inclusion of the funding requested in the 2020 budget, and the commissioners unanimously agreed. The attorney representing former Guam State Historic Preservation Officer Linda Uggan has filed an adverse action appeal with the Civil Service Commission, suggesting there was a hidden agenda behind her termination. Attorney John Bell filed the appeal on behalf of Uggan last Tuesday. It appears management terminated Uggan as a punitive manner, Bell wrote, which is strictly prohibited. He asked the CSC to dismiss or modify the adverse action that led to Uggan's firing. Department of Parks and Rec Director Richard Ibanez fired Uggan on June 18th. Ibanez cited misuse of a government vehicle and multiple complaints about unprofessional conduct towards other employees. In his appeal, Bell called the adverse action notice little more than a laundry list of petty grievances, indicating management decided it was going to throw everything at the wall to see what sticks. The CSC is scheduled to hear Bell's motion to void Uggin's termination September 17th. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now take a look at our weather.
You used to call that a Pearl Harbor file, and you just you list up all of these grievances that you got with an employee, and then you just drop the bomb all at once, and then see if they can wiggle themselves out of an obvious termination attempt. 7:12 in the morning, partly sunny and breezy with isolated showers and a slight chance of thunderstorms today. South winds 15 to 25 miles an hour. Daytime high should be 89 degrees, and overnight lows up around 78 degrees. Sunset tonight 6:44. Sunrise this morning was at 6:07, about the same time tomorrow. We do have to give you a whole bouquet of watches and warnings here. High surf warning in effect through tonight along west and north-facing reefs. All right, let me read that again. There's a high surf warning. Careful out there. High risk of rip currents through Friday night along southwest and north-facing reefs, and a high surf advisory in effect from Tuesday through Friday night along west and north-facing reefs as well. We've got a big storm in the area. Not going to be a bother to us, but it is bringing in some of that incredible surf. I got Michael Knight from our The Points Weather Center, Duke Sky Talker, give you an idea of what's happening. Do me a favor, just let me refresh this. Take a gander at it. I don't think it'll be all that much different, but let me refresh the radar just in case.
Interesting to note that Crosa itself, the storm, has been now the main feature of our weather for about 10 days, which is not a usual thing, and it's been very slow to move out, and you can see here on the radar, it is still a bit slow to move out, but it looks like it's starting to now. As it does, it appears that these showers from the southeast are starting to creep in, so that is a possibility. I'll check the forecast as they work it up here a little bit later on this morning and see what they say definitively on the subject. Crosa moving away, though, so those showers going away, and it looks like we're just looking at isolated showers and some breezy conditions today. Going to the satellite real quick, we'll see Crosa, big spread-out storm. It's transformed into a bit of a hybrid tropical, maybe monsoon-type depression storm system. They do this sometimes. It's not an unusual thing. Actually, probably about once a year you'll find one of these that does it. The funny thing is the models were actually showing the earlier storm, the one that just recently, Lakima, the one that just recently moved into China. They were actually showing that one to turn into the monsoon depression, and so we knew this was going to happen, but it turns out this one did.
Which system it was going to end up being. Well, when we talked about this thing on Friday, it started to consolidate itself, and then it consolidated, contracted, and then expanded, and looks like as it continued to move north, that expansion just never stopped.
Well, and what happens here is because it sat over the same area for a long time, you get things that start to happen that are detrimental to tropical weather development. It stays over the same area of water, so those waters start to cool. It mixes up the water and creates what's called upwelling, which brings colder water to the surface. So on top of it starting to weaken,
and mermaids too.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, but on top, in addition to it weakening, these things as they weaken, they spread out, and then this thing has certain general characteristics because it all started from a monsoon trough, so it's not a surprise at all, and that's just why it's been sticking around for so long. Normally, something that far away wouldn't be bothering us at all.
But yeah, it is 7:15. But it was just crazy walking up and down Tumon yesterday, and most people have in their mind an idea of what that beach looks like. You've got the sand, you got a little bit of green, then you got the hotels or a chapel or something like that on the mountainside of it. But yesterday, algae all over the place, rocks. The waves have been pushing rocks from the shore area onto the actual beach. I mean, if you get these little pieces of coral heads that were loose already, they're on the beach right now. And depending on what time you go, I'd almost, if it's not high tide right now, I'd actually walk around the beach. There's a lot of flotsam and jetsam floating around. There was a fairly good-looking pair of swim goggles out on the beach yesterday, and somebody's pants or something like that. So you might be surprised at what you can see combing the beaches down in Tumon today. 7:15, maybe over by Jimmy D's too. 7:15 in the morning. That's news and weather together. Here in a point.
We understand what matters to you because at Docomo Pacific, we're a family too. With the Now Family program, Mom, Dad, and kids stay connected on the latest devices the whole family can enjoy. For just $155 a month, get 3 lines with 30 gigs of 4G LTE data each, and endless use of your favorite apps without affecting your monthly data bucket. Add more, get more, save more. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply.
Quarter after 7 o'clock in the morning, portions of the Ray Gibson Show brought to you by Wendy's, where they've got the Biggie Bag. It's the perfect back-to-school meal for kids and parents on the go. Why? Because they've stuffed it with all the things on that list of goodies that you need to bring to school on the first day. They're all inside the Biggie Bag. Congratulations. It's a one-stop deal over at Wendy's. Man, wouldn't that be awesome? You get the burger and you get your protractors and your filler paper and number 2 pencils and all that. Anyway, tell you what, inside is the big bacon double stack. And that would fill up a $5 bag, no problem. But 4-piece nuggets, fries, and a drink's also included in this package. Got hungry kids? No problem. Fill them up with a $5 Biggie Bag from Wendy's. Now that's better. The summer of the Jeep continues until the end of August. Swing by Cars Plus and ask them about how you can get the best deal on Wranglers and Compasses, Cherokees, and Grand Cherokees. Financing as low as 1.99% on your groovy credit. That's the way they're doing it there. American President Lines has got a global presence with a local home. And finally, I was starting to talk earlier about happy hour, and you can get into a happy hour tonight. I mean, if you've got all of the back-to-school shopping, you get the uniforms and everything all set and ready to go, take the kids out to a happy hour tonight. Yes, it's their back-to-school special over at Ruby Tuesdays from 4 to 6 all day today. Select draft beers, wine, sangrias, or the RT Tipsy Palmer or Ruby Relaxer. $5 or less. They got $5 appetizers, too. Check them out for happy hour tonight at Ruby Tuesday, Guam.
Bringing you closer to the action. Any speaker, anytime. Watch and listen live on thepoint.gu.
Time 7:18, and welcome to Monday. As I said, it's the last of the days of summer for 2019. Lots of kids, private schools, etc., gone back to school last week, and some maybe settling up for their first day in class today. But tomorrow, for the Department of Education, it is the first day of school for everybody. And you can tell. I don't know if you follow John Fernandez on Twitter. John Fernandez is like the second most followed guy on Twitter on Guam. The first one is going to be what's her name? Pia Mia, I think, is the most followed Guamanian on Twitter, and then you got John Fernandez, and John is kind of a clever kind of. But he can be devious as well. He's throwing up memes there. So the meme yesterday was somebody showing the number 2, going like this, number 2, as in there's 2 more days left before school starts. I haven't checked his Twitter feed to find out what he's yakking about today, but my guess is he's continuing that countdown around there. Nice. Way to go, devious guy, that John Fernandez. Portions of the program here include the Jerry Roberts and the Extra Point. He's coming up next, but first, let's take a look at the market and see how everything ended up last week. Ooh, that's ugly. S&P 500 off by 20 points to close at 29.18. The NASDAQ at 79.59, off by 80 points. Dow Jones Industrial Average off by 90 points. But, since it's such a big market, it really doesn't make all that much difference. And for all intents and purposes, statistically, it's flat. 26,287. I got the FTSE at 72.53. The Nikkei is going to open up today at 20,684. Hang Seng down by 181 points, 25,939. Shanghai is off by 20 points, and the DAX is off by 151 points. On the commodities, oil trading at $54.50 or so. Yeah, that's where it is today. Up by a couple of bucks from where it was on Friday, $52.92 for a barrel of West Texas crude. Again, today it's $54.50. TAP is stable at $61.14. Actually, that number is frozen. They do that from time to time, where they'll just stop updating the number online, and that's what you get. So maybe tomorrow, maybe Wednesday, we'll get a new number on TAPIS, and hold your fingers crossed, and maybe it'll come out to be a nice lower number than that.
There you go.
Maybe. We'll see what happens. 20 after 7 o'clock in the morning. Jerry Roberts in the studio, and I got to take care of something for one of our big Jerry Roberts Extra Points sponsors. You don't mind?
Not at all.
They went through this deal, and it wasn't that long, where they were trying to give away 2 million airplane miles with United. And we have our winners. And neither one. I looked over the list twice.
It wasn't us.
That's not us. Jermaine Chai, grand prize winner. She got 1 million miles. Followed by Annie Lansung, first prize winner, 500,000 miles. Fina de la Cruz gets another 100,000 miles. Melanie Marie B. Sanchez, congratulations on your 100,000 miles. And flat 100K for Jose Mariano. Got 100,000 miles into their United mileage accounts.
Congrats.
Congrats.
Grab
There's
luggage,
some
go.
decent, yeah, that's some decent traveling that you get to do here. And you know what? I'd do it for yourself. That's you get it to a million miles, and all your friends are going, okay, where are we going? This is Manila, Bali, Tokyo. Let's go. Come on.
Sure,
Go get. No, I'm going to Manila by myself. I'm going to Tokyo by myself. I'm going to Bali by myself. I'll get you all magnets and T-shirts.
There you go.
That's the way to do that. 7:21 in the morning. Jerry Roberts in the studio. Did you have a good weekend?
Had a good weekend.
That's nice.
Just relaxed. They did a little walking down to the beach, by the way.
Right? You know what I'm talking about.
Man, it was weird down there.
Crazy. It's not that often. So hung out at Santa Fe Friday night, and was watching the water. We were hunting for a sunset on Friday night. So I went down to Santa Fe, and I'm standing there listening to Dave Evans and the doc on the band behind me, and watching the waters lap up to where the concrete of Santa Fe is. I've never seen the water up that high.
So that would be storm surge, would it not be? That's what
Something
I was,
along.
that's what
Well,
I was
it's just
saying.
a lot of churn out there in the ocean because of the storm.
But
I mean, the storms are hundreds of miles away.
Yeah, my wife was saying, it's totally different down here. It looks like we lost
It's a
some
completely
geography
different
down
vibe.
there.
Yeah,
it
it's a
totally was,
different Tumon down there.
Yeah.
The hotels are all in the same place, but it looks like the shore had gotten that much thinner.
Actually, between Hilton and what would it be? I guess Emmettopping. That's where it was kind of affected. After that, it kind of with the wider parts of the beach, it looks sort of normal, but still in all, the water was choppy and
there's all kinds of debris on the Yip. It was just
I
was wondering what to do about that, and I thought maybe we'll gather up all of the debris and then put it back in the water. Just put it on a couple of little barges and take them all out there and then tip it over, and then we'll start over again, and it'll be nice.
Easy.
I don't know how that works, but like I said, for me yesterday, the craziest part was I'm laying on the sand watching the bikinis walk by, and here comes these two guys in the yellow shirts, the patrol boys, right? And they're telling everybody to get out of the water. I'm going, I don't think you're allowed to do that. I don't think you guys have got the authority to tell people to get out of the water. They'd emptied off the beach from about where the Nico is, from about where the Acme Hotel is, that one all the way down there up to the Hyatt, and people were getting out of the water, but as soon as they left, they'd go back in the water.
What was the reason?
The reason I got from Jenna was they were an overabundance of concern. So they said they were asking people to get near the shore, get out of the deep water and come closer to the shore. But that's not what was happening. They were actually telling people to get out of the water.
Okay.
And I thought that was kind of interesting because I think only Lulian Guerrero is allowed to tell people, get out of the water. I'm a nurse. Get out. It's 7:24 in the morning. Hey, we got to do the extra point. Jerry Roberts in the studio, brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and the people that handed out millions of miles. That's for United Mileage Plus award winners. That would be First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes.
What is your preference for communicating with coworkers? Is it by phone calls, regular texts, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger? There are a lot of choices, and there's no right or wrong. Today, let's talk about business communications. It's next on The Extra Point.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
I was in a meeting a few days ago when the leader of the group asked me how I prefer to communicate. Was it by phone, text, WhatsApp, or something else? I appreciated the question, and I've asked it myself when first connecting with people. It's important to know their preference because I'm guessing if I use their preferred means of communicating that the chances of reaching them will improve. Truthfully, that's not always the case. Some people still don't return phone calls or any kind of messages, even if you do use the method they like best. But I do believe it does help in the long run. How should we view this when the communications are between a worker and his or her boss? Let's use texting as the example, whether it's standard text, WhatsApp, or Messenger. Are there rules involved? Yes, there are rules. but all are basically the unwritten variety, and this is going to be confusing. It's going to be on a case-by-case decision whether all or none of those rules apply between the two parties. When I published Directions magazine, I often worked late, frequently still at it at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. If I needed to send a message to an editor or graphic artist regarding an article, I would write it and hit the send button. If texting was their preferred method, I would text instead of the email. One person was always awake overnight and would quickly reply. Another was sleeping, and I wouldn't get a reply for hours. I was fine with that. The message had been sent, and I was on to something else. Then I was told all this was a big no-no and bad form. I should never send messages outside of normal business hours, never overnight, and never, ever, ever on weekends. They said it was even disrespectful because some people left their notifications on and would hear my message come in. Now, frankly, I suggest turning off notifications when you want to have quiet time. That way you won't be disturbed by messages at odd hours. On the other hand, managers and workers need guaranteed ways to touch base during critical times and should discuss how that will work. Does texting at all hours and during an employee's personal time lead to burnout? Do workers feel they have to be monitoring all the time? Do managers feel they have a right to connect with workers anytime they feel the need? There's also the fact that many managers feel frustration if their messages aren't answered right away, and they end up transferring that frustration to the worker by complaining. As stated earlier, there are no absolute rules for this, though some organizations have established guidelines for how and when it is appropriate for employees to communicate outside of regular business hours. What do you think? Is it okay to send messages whenever you want? Or should there be limitations? That's the extra point. Get out there and make something good happen today. For 93.3, The Ray Gibson Show, Guahan Insurance Services, and First to Wine Bank. I'm Jerry Roberts.
Yeah, but the story goes in both directions.
Yeah.
It seems to me if the employees want to get a hold of the boss 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, then it seems to me, hey, I can't work, or I got a booger, or, I got this issue with the paycheck or whatever. The employees want to get a hold of the boss 24/7. The door got to swing in the opposite direction as well.
Yeah. I think that's just a conversation that people have to have with each other and say, look, I may need to reach outside of business hours, which is the best way, and is it okay? But the other factor is, are you going to have notifications on so you get the message?
I've got the notifications on, but there's a peculiarity that I've used as an excuse over quite a number of years because I'm on the radio. I turn the ringer off when I go into the studio, right? And I turn all of the sound on the phone off before I go into the studio. And when I leave the studio, I oftentimes forget to turn it back on.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's why I did get the message. I didn't hear it, so it's possible I haven't read it until 2 days later, 3 days later, something like that. I was I was chatting with Chris Parrish the other day, Chris Duenas, and said, hey, we need to talk about something. He says, yeah, I emailed you on that 3 weeks ago. Never mind. It's okay. All right. Appreciate that. Thanks for the heads up. So I'll get back to you tomorrow. Save face. Hang up. Bye. It's like that. Anyway, so great extra point here for details on that. If you want to take another look at it, reread it, and see if that's something that might make a difference in your workforce, then go to the GuamTraining.com website on the World Wide Web. It's 7:29 and about time for headlines. Pam Duvall asking a question on Facebook Live here a second ago about what was the deal with that machete dude that was messing around in Chico. I haven't heard anything about the guy who used a machete to threaten the lady and her 14-year-old at the laundromat a couple of days ago. Pam, there's a story in the Saturday morning version of the Guam Daily Post. I'll tell you about that in a second. But right now it's time for this morning's headlines from the Guam Daily Post, brought to you by GPSI. Al Yanger and his team out there, happy to bring you all kinds of different ways that you can use them to help get some federal jobs. The number is 477-3058. 7:30 newscast also brought to you by Auntie Loli at Remax Diamond Realty. Call her for all of your real estate concerns. Auntie Loli's number is 688-6743. Now, headlines from the Guam Daily Post and Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, it's back to school tomorrow for the island's public school students. And once again this year, Guam DOE Superintendent John Fernandez says parents can rest assured that their children will be provided with a nutritious breakfast and lunch every day of the academic year for free. The bulk of the cost for the meals is provided by federal funds, but Guam has to put up a local share of about $5 million to cover the cost for the more than 30,000 public school students. Fernandez said the number of students taking advantage of the school breakfast and lunch options has increased significantly over the past year, which shows that there is a need. And while expanding the program to all schools costs more, he said it's a worthwhile investment that will ensure more students have eaten a proper meal before the start of classes. Talks have begun with the Army Corps of Engineers to conduct an assessment of the structural integrity of Guam Memorial Hospital. GMA's Chief Planner William Kando told the Guam Daily Post Friday that he has been in contact with the Army Corps. The assessment will determine whether GMH, which was built back in the 1970s, should be renovated or rebuilt. The Department of Interior's Office of Insular Affairs has pledged to cover the cost of the assessment. Kando said the hospital is working with the Army Corps to develop the scope of the work for the assessment and the cost to conduct it. That cost will be provided to the Department of Interior. Once the funds are allocated, the assessment can begin. Department of Administration sending out 777 tax refund checks today, amounting to $2.1 million. The checks cover error-free returns filed on or before February 14th. As always, those who owe fines to the judiciary or payments to Guam Memorial Hospital will have their checks garnished. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
How much is going on? 1.2 or 2.1?
2.1.
$2.1 million. All right. There's a steady progression of money that is going into tax refunds virtually every week. I don't think there has been 1 week on one Monday where we have not announced that the tax refunds are in the mail. Sure could use it now, what with back to school and all, huh?
It might be helpful if it arrives by today.
7:30. Spend it now. No, just spend the money. The check's on the way, honest. Daphne said so. 7:33 in the morning, that's iConnect time. Run to the nearest iConnect and ask about great savings on mobile and internet plans. And if you're in business, check out what they've got to tell you about Push to Talk. That works as well. Change your life with iConnect.
Lolita Cammett from RE/MAX Diamond Realty, a friendly, hardworking, and passionate RE/MAX professional, is committed to helping you make a difference in your life and to helping you achieve the American dream of home ownership. She also specializes in commercial leasing, land sales, local residential sales leasing, and military and corporate relocation. So for all your real estate needs, call Lolita Cammett from RE/MAX Diamond Realty at 688-6743. That's 688-6743.
My favorite commercial. IHOP's new buttermilk chicken has arrived, made with all-natural chicken breast and signature seasoning blend. You order that with your pancakes, your waffles, or breakfast combo. You got to try it. Something new. Fried chicken for breakfast for a limited time at IHOP in Tamuning and in Tumon.
GPSI Guam is a professional services company that is a registered contractor for the federal government. They're an SBA, 8A, and Hub Zone certified SDVOSB, providing program/project management, administration, technical support, logistics, and commodities. Find out more about GPSI and how they can help you today. For large prime companies, contact GPSI if you need assistance in meeting your small business subcontracting goals at 477-3058. They'll be happy to assist.
And I am looking at some ugly traffic down by Apra, making your way from Route 2 to number 5 over by the Payless on the way into Agate and Santa Rita. That intersection is jammed. The intersection over at 1 and 2, that's the one that gets everybody into Big Navy and Sumai. That one is jammed. Watch out for traffic slowing down in both directions over by Polaris Point as you're making your way from the south into the northern end of town, downtown Agutnia area. Some of the intersections there are starting to jam up. Getting into and out of Navy Hospital, that area there might be a little bit busy by the playground. Looking at traffic at 8, 10, and 16. As you might imagine, there's teachers that are headed in for their first day to look around the campus over at the schoolhouse. So expect some slowing down around that intersection in virtually all directions. 10 and 15, a little bit busy, and the intersection of 4 and 10 for traffic trying to turn into and onto Route 10. Expect some delays through there. What have I got going on here? Why does this look like it is moving so slow? Marine Corps Drive southbound. southbound. Right after Santos Hill, it goes crazy slow, virtually coming to a standstill over by, where's this at? Over by Picas. It will open up again as soon as you pass that intersection, but it's also going to be meeting some traffic that is slowing down in the opposite direction as well. Wow, 1 southbound Marine Corps Drive from about the intersection of 1 and 3. Expect some serious delays through there. It's I'm looking at some red lights that means that the traffic gizmo indicating traffic virtually stopped. Route 3, traffic getting out of the Nick Tams area onto Marine Corps Drive, also a little bit busy. I don't dare look anywhere else. That's a lot of traffic happening. Be careful out there. 736 right now, traffic on the point.
Hi, welcome to this Subway ad for the new ciabatta collection. How do you want it?
I'll take the slam poultry.
Sure. Italian ciabatta with mozzarella. When hunger reigns, you're my favorite umbrella. Tasty garlic steak and provolone. With you, my taste buds are never alone. Savory chicken pesto, you have my affection. For you complete the ciabatta collection. Thank you. That was the new ciabatta collection by Subway. Limited time only at participating restaurants.
The Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point. Welcome to us Monday, the beginning of the week, but the end of the summer of 2019. As Kevin Garrigan points out, this is it. Today is the day. And everybody got to get ready for the first day of school tomorrow. I recognize that there are some students in uniforms that have been going to school already for the last bunch of days. And welcome back to school to them. Kind of a head start that they've got on a little bit of the system. But it is kind of groovy to watch. This is one of those things that we all kind of go through together. Is this whole back-to-school deal, and the smarter people. If you take a look at the newspapers, they're talking about everybody going shopping, right? There's got a parent here in the front page of the PDN. This Neville Kalika and his daughter Nia, pretty girl, 5, shopping for school supplies and national office supply. This is today's newspaper, which means that they got this done over the last couple of days. Isn't that sweet? Isn't that sweet? This is a father of the year as far as I'm concerned. Because if it was me and I had to go and take care of that stuff. It would be, what time is school tomorrow? 8 o'clock? What time do they open National Office Supplies? Can I get there early tomorrow morning and just load up on everything that we need? Expect, as the man says, traffic to be just horrendous around some of those places where you get your back-to-school supplies and up to and including uniforms. I'm still not 100% on board with the uniforms. There's some people that absolutely rave about them and say what a great thing it is that the public school kids are wearing uniforms. One less thing for mom and dad to worry about. We don't have to worry about them being in step with the latest in teen fashions. You want some variety. So short pants or long pants? Which do you want? And then maybe you start with long pants, and then as the kids high water them, then you go ahead and tuck them in and make them short pants. I don't know. Maybe there's an economical justification for it. I remember originally one of the ideas behind instituting the uniform policies in the Department of Education was so that there would be I almost want to say a certain kind of control, maybe that the administrators might be able to exert over the students, because there was not this individualistic streak that was going on. You'd have everybody kind of like in the military, everybody get the same hair and the same. So it's not like you can be completely an individual and exert some kind of individual assistance over everybody else. But the truth of the matter is, kids are smart. They'll figure all of that stuff out, and before too much longer, they've got their own little clicky things going, and which is the right place to sit, which is the wrong place to sit, what's the in crowd going to be hanging out, what's the cool music going to be listening to. Hey, and you know what, kids, the latest thing, I don't know if you're keeping up on this, but the latest thing is a resurgence and appreciation for 80s and 70s music, 60s, 70s, and 80s music. Somebody, the cooler kids in the States have figured it out. Everything sounds like a tennis shoe going around in a dryer these days, and they're going, oh, that's not music. The stuff that my mom and dad listen to, that's music. That's the new cool stuff. So just think about that as you're going to school. Just empty out your MP3 playlist or whatever streaming that you're listening to, and just put it on some groovy 70s and 80s playlists, right? And then you'll be the cool kid at school. You think anybody's buying that, Kev? Yeah, I didn't think so. It doesn't hurt to try. Always try to exert some kind of influence on your kids and their music listening habits. I think you'll find that when they get to be in their early 20s, stuff like that, and they will get to a point where you go, yeah, Dad's music really wasn't all that bad. Anyway, so Pam was asking about what happened with the case at the laundromat up in Jigo. And the story, this is on page 5 of Saturday's Guam Daily Post, says, alert employees from a nearby business establishment helped thwart a machete threat on a woman sitting in a car outside the laundromat Thursday night. The suspect, described by witnesses as a man wearing a hoodie and dark basketball shorts, first asked for a cigarette from the woman in the car before he held a machete against her throat. What? What happened here? Witness said he was monitoring the parking lot through a video surveillance camera and saw from the screen that the man with the machete started to threaten the woman. The witness and a co-worker ran to the parking lot, which prompted the suspect to haul it. He was barefoot, said the witnesses. The folks interviewed by the Guam Daily Post at the scene, the witness declined to have his name disclosed because he was worried about his safety. Doesn't want the guy coming back after him with a machete. Incident happened around 11:20 p.m. Police arrived later around 2 a.m. That's a while. Sergeant Paul Tapau said officers from the Dededo Precinct Command responded to a report of a robbery. The victim told police that while waiting in a car just outside, an unknown man approached the victim. The victim managed to grab the machete and press the vehicle's horn, causing the suspect to flee on foot. Oh, so she's got a new machete. Victim was unharmed. Police are asking the public to come forward with any information about the incident. Again, a guy with dark basketball shorts and a hoodie now running around the village barefoot minus a machete. Where did they hide those things? A machete is not something that's easy to conceal, if you ask me. I guess if you're wearing a hoodie or something, yeah, down the back, something like that. But something to watch out for. You see somebody walking around the village with a machete and he's not helping the mayor or cutting down the tang, and then maybe he's up to no good and the police ought to be called.
I see them in the streets at night sometimes, and they'll have them in their shirt, tucked in behind their
Like
shirt
that,
where
huh?
the handle is there, so then I can pull it out real quick.
Gotcha.
But you can't see it if you're looking straight at them.
It's 7:42 in the morning. There's some crazy stuff floating around out there. Mayor Melissa Savares from the village of Dededo online this morning. I call her as opposed to other village mayors because she got the big one. She's up in Dededo. What's the last day of summer like for you today, and what's the first day of school going to be like for the mayor's office? Good morning.
It's going to be busy, Ray.
Yep.
We have nine public schools. Our private schools have already started. And so we have 9 public schools that start tomorrow. So we're really, really busy today, trying to get areas, bus stop. We had several groups that came out and did bus stops over the weekends. And I'd like to thank the families that, actually took ownership of the bus stops in their neighborhoods. And so, of course, today is checking sidewalks and making sure pathways towards schools are accessible for children.
Right. Ask everybody, tie up the dogs because there are going to be little kids floating around there. I was taking a look at the bus schedule. It's kind of insane how early some of these kids are going to have to be waiting on the bus.
Yeah. Our high school kids, especially JFK in particular, they're out at the bus stops at 5:30, between 5:30 and 5:40.
Black.
Their buses, so it's really, really dark. So GPA has been doing a really good job keeping street lights around it right at the bus stops on, unless there's a problem with the lights. But so far, so good. We're keeping our fingers crossed. Everybody gets to school on time. And we just ask parents to be patient around the entrances of the schools because everybody's going to want to drop their children on the first day. So traffic will be heavy and just be patient with, watch the kids that are walking at the crosswalks, especially. We're so used to not having the kids at the crosswalks during the summertime, but we'll be out there in different areas.
As far as the mayoral responsibilities are, and I don't know whether these people, sometimes I see folks in the afternoon car lines near the school. Do they work for the Department of Education? They work for the school, or in some cases, are they village mayor people? What's the split on the responsibilities for that?
Most of the time, Ray, if it's the immediate crosswalk right at the entrance to the school, it's school staff. But on the first day, most of the school staff are in the parking lot trying to get the flow of traffic going. So we're out in certain areas. There's some intersections that would be difficult for us to be at. But like Ukudu High School is controlled by a traffic light, and so is J.M. Guerrero. So in those areas, use the traffic light, the signals that are there, and but then we're in the areas where village streets that are intersected with federal highway roads, like Weddingdale and Maria Ujoa and Benavente Middle School. They're intersected with federal highways, and so without traffic light controls. So we'll be in those particular areas.
Yeah, it seems to me. I want to say up at Ukadu and Estumbo. My recollection is that, especially since there's been a lot more activity there with the construction and everything, that there's more mayoral people that are out there helping direct traffic in and around those areas to keep it moving.
Yeah, and we have a very small staff, Ray, so a vice mayor and I would be out there also, but we just ask motorists, be patient. If you see a child or students, a bunch of kids at the crosswalk, give them, they have the, right to cross that line. And so, just courtesy, especially on that first.
Yeah, and patience. Leave early. If you think you're just gonna fly by the school, not gonna happen. Not for the next couple of days until people start figuring out how to do it. Caller asking about the lack of a speed bump. Sorry, this is gonna turn into Ask Melissa Questions Day. Lack of a speed bump on Sandia Street. Apparently, they've been asking for it a number of times. You got any headways on that?
Yeah, I had the caller on here, and he was going to ask himself, but I disconnected it. But he just said he had somebody come out, but they haven't followed up, and he keeps calling, and he wants to know what's up.
Well, we, with speed bumps, we have a purchase order. We've ordered. The vendor just it's not in yet. So as soon as those speed bumps, we have a couple that are on, going to be delivered to us very soon. As soon as those are in, Chandia, at the entrance to Chandia, is one of the areas that we're on top priority because there's a bus stop right there.
Yeah. Yeah, so if we can get a speed bump down there. So PO has been made, but the vendor hasn't come in yet.
Yeah, the item has not been delivered yet. Yeah.
It's a speed bump, isn't it? Is it one of those plastic ones?
Yes, it's the rubber ones, yes.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Call Hawaiian Rock and have them come down and do a speed hump in the area. What have I got here? 7:47 in the morning. There's a picture here, and I don't, to the degree that it might be something that you are responsible, I'm not sure. But I got a picture from one of our listeners. This is a street leading up to Simon Sanchez and FBLG. Now, I recognize that's not in your village, but there's 3 abandoned vehicles there. And it's not on the campus, so I don't think that's a DOE issue. It's on the side of the road, so that would make it a mayoral problem to have those removed before school, right?
Actually, we have a vendor, Ray. We have, we've marked the one right at the curb because that is still within our property, our boundary. So that one will be removed. Hopefully today. I'll contact the vendor. But
I see. Okay, so one of these vehicles that's on the screen right now is one of yours?
Yes. So so right before the curb, when you go in from Wistic Road, the ponding basin is our boundary.
Okay.
The ponding basin on the left. So we did tag. I was with my staff when we tagged that one vehicle that's at the curb. Often it's really a rusted vehicle. So we've tagged that for removal from our vendors. So it is on our list for removal, but we'll follow up with them this morning to see.
Yeah, but I guess the question is why couldn't you tag the other 2 vehicles? I mean, it's the one Guam. There's one mayor's council. It's one agreement. Could you not have tagged the other 2 vehicles for?
Ray, I drove that about 2 weeks ago, and that's when we were tagging, and we were in the process of removing the white goods that are there also.
Yeah.
I need to take a look because from what I can recall, I did see the one vehicle that we tagged. And we went all the way to FB, so I don't recall the other 2 unless they're further into the jungle.
All 3 of them are right next to each other on the picture that I have. But anyway, I'll beep it to you. But you might want to have somebody go out there. I mean, it would be a shame for the vendor to go out there and pick up just one car when there's 3 cars waiting to go.
Yeah, well, we'll check on it, and then we'll let him know to pick up whatever's on that street.
Oh, you're awesome. Okay? You're awesome. Okay. Well, listen, I'm going to let you go. I don't know if there's anything else that you guys are working on over at the Mayor's Council or up in Dedham. Is there anything that listeners need to know about this morning?
Well, of course, be mindful. Again, this is the first week of school, and then like we've spoken about. But another thing is they're part of Neighborhood Watch. We do have a Neighborhood Watch Summit this coming Saturday over at GCC, and that's from 10 to 2. So it's something good. The different groups, Neighborhood Watch groups, will have a representative from our Machechi Neighborhood Watch group that would be talking about some things that they're doing in their area. Someone from Chalampago, Mayor Gobi, would also be talking about the incidences on their Neighborhood Watch groups. And then MTM, where the Chamorro Gardens Neighborhood Watch team captain will come and talk to what they're doing as far as complexes. So if they're interested in being a part of Neighborhood Watch, please contact their village mayor or attend the summit at GCC.
Okay, hey, there was somebody pointing out there's a story about the mayor's waiting on the results of TD Mayor's citation before you guys are jumping into it with both feet.
Yeah. Well, PD Mayor shared with us, Mayor Alex shared with us his, of course, his citation that he issued, and he's still waiting to see what would happen in court. So, it's not that we're waiting to give a citation. We're just more aggressively just taking care of just directing to individuals or groups that have been
problematic.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha, Mayor. I appreciate your time. I want you to have a fantastic rest of the day and happy back to school to you.
Okay.
All right. That's that. 888-825-888-TALK is the phone number around here. What have I got? This is a couple of interesting things to riff on later on. And one from a post from my classmate and spiritual advisor, Polly Eric Forbes. More on that in a second. Jenna from Homeland Security. Good morning. How you doing there?
Hi, good morning, Ray. How are you?
Not bad, dude. You've been busy. It's like every week, every couple of days I hear from you. It's either the North Koreans or high surf warnings or all of that.
I feel like we're all busy these days.
Oh, boy. Well, you know what? Not me. I'm lazy, and I was able to take advantage of some hours yesterday to go and hang out and catch some grill marks over at Epal Beach.
Nice.
Yeah. It was,
Stay out of the water.
But no, that's what I was asking about. And, and I hate to, isolate the incident. But like I said, the patrol boys were telling people to get out of the water. And I'm like, that's not patrol boy responsibility. Only the governor is allowed to tell people to get out of the water in Tumon.
That's right. And I did reach out to Chief Supa. Unfortunately, I got an update about G4S. There were some instances that they brought up that they would encourage people to come to shore. I believe that was due to strong currents during the high tide. And, of course, the National Weather Service advisories are out right now for the high surf advisory and the strong rip currents. So they were doing so based on their own judgment and the recent advisories from National Weather Service. And that was the update that I received from them. I actually appreciated the help that they were doing. Of course, there were distressed swimmers from yesterday. There was a lot of sad instances that are happening because of these high surf advisories. So, they did it on a case-by-case basis. And I think there were some instances where either someone was not a strong swimmer or the currents were just way too strong.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. At least it was, for me, it was one of those killjoy moments because at least the group that I was around, and you know how it is at Epal Beach, there's all these different kind of groups that you hang out with. I mean, the moms and the dads and the kids, they were absolutely having a great time. It's like that wave thing they've got over at the Onward Agania. And there's people out there in the water squealing with delight, riding these waves in, and then here comes the patrol boy saying, "Get out of the water! It's dangerous. There's going to be somebody drowning and all of that stuff." And like I said, it really didn't have. I don't think it had the effect that they wanted. I think people, as soon as they saw the patrol boys were out of their field of view, jumped back in the water and commenced having fun again.
Right. So what we've just been advising the community is just practice extreme caution. If you're out by the water, there are some steps to avoid rip currents. Sometimes people underestimate Guam's waters. It can look really calm, but then underneath it can be really busy. So, again, we're just asking people to, heed the advice of lifeguards and even those patrol officers and just, help everyone stay safe out there.
Absolutely. There was one person that was plucked out of the water yesterday. There is one fatality as a result of the kind of rough waters that we have. So as I say, my instinct is to err on the side of caution as well, which meant that I kept track of where all of the kids are that were within my field of view and our area of responsibility. I knew where they were, whether they had life jackets on or whether they were strong swimmers and making sure that if they went in the water that they were going to come out all right. And I think that's the kind of prudence that we ask of people when they get get out there. But what is there is a protocol. I'm trying to remember in the Camacho administration, there was a big public outcry because there was a storm in the area. It passed, but there was still some heavy seas out in the ocean, and he took the trouble to actually close the beaches of Guam. And we were asking, can he do that? And I'm not sure where the law is on that and who has actually got the authority to push the button and say that we're closing the beaches on Guam.
You know, that's a good point, and something we can look into, at least from our office. I do know that, you know, when it comes to storm relations, as soon as we change into conditions of readiness, like if we move all the way to conditions of readiness 1, the authorities are able to either say, get off the roadways, and I can imagine it can be as far as getting away from the beach side. But again, that's something that we can look into. The best we can do right now is just advise the community to, again, practice that caution. I appreciate what you said, because that was a good point. You know, let's police ourselves and let's look out for one another. And even if it's not a family member of yours or someone that you're near, you don't know them, but it's a good idea to just keep looking out for one another. So that was a really great point.
I'm glad you think so, Jen. I'll talk to you pretty soon. I want you to have a fantastic day. We'll continue to spread the word and read the advisories about high surf advisories and risk of rip currents that apparently we're stuck with for the next couple of days around here. And I'll be looking for your posts as well.
Thank you so much, Ray. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it. What time is the North Koreans going to test missiles today? Do you know?
You know, I don't know, and I wish we would know in advance. That would be great.
It's almost clockwork, these guys. And the crazy thing is they're apologizing and sending missiles out. I'm really sorry. I don't know how to stop. It's just so much fun pushing the button, Trump. I'm really, really sorry about this. It is crazy. I'll talk to you pretty soon. You have a great day. Jenna from Homeland Security with me. 7:56 in the morning. Yeah, that's the deal. And it wasn't that I thought these guys were out there, overexerting whatever authority they get for, giving a bicycle and a yellow shirt, as much as I thought, dude, you're killing everybody's Sunday. I mean, it's a beautiful day outside. There's plenty of grill marks. Mom's, dad's are barbecuing going on all over the place. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And you got these families that are out there. It's the last Sunday before everybody has to go back to school. And literally, they are out there squealing in delight as these waves are washing over them. There are people that may be body surfing for the very first time in their lives because the waves were up and there was enough churn on there to, really, really kind of catch a wave and ride it almost all the way in. And so I'm watching these families having a great time. And like I said, here comes the killjoys. Get out of the water. Get out of the water. I'll bet you wait a half hour ago. You're supposed to wait an hour. Get back off the beach. Get out of here. And so I thought, well, I don't know. I thought that was a little bit too much. But as in typical, it's our way to do things around here the way we want to. As soon as these guys left the periphery, everybody runs back into the water like they were never, ever there. That was sweet. 7:57, 7:58 in the morning. Hey, there's Yuka Hechinova, and they work. Franco Julian is online. Daryl Taggarty says there ought to be some silicone or spray oil type coating to apply so tagging can be simply sprayed off with water. What are the best practices for ease and cost from our national experience? Good question, Daryl. And if not, some kind of oil or some kind of protective coating that you can put on it. I don't know, maybe just stiffer penalties for graffiti, if you will. Lady D, is there anybody else? Nick Pulaski, yeah, similar point, the thing that's going to tick me off, now that family, friends, businesses have gone out and cleaned the bus stops, here it is the day before school. After all the hard work is done, here comes somebody that's going to come and tag the thing, going to mess it up, scrawl 4-letter words up there, because, that's the brain power that we're educating these kids in. I'm going to write my manifesto, but I'm going to write it all out in curse words on the bus stop near my school. Just got to watch out for it. You just got to watch out for it. We saw there's some tag in northbound Marine Corps Drive over in a building that used to be the White Swallow. Don't ask. And somebody has tagged up that building there. And I hope that the managers, the owners of the building, remember what Ray Tenorio used to call the broken glass syndrome. If somebody comes and breaks a glass, get it replaced as quick as possible. Otherwise, people think it's open season, break the other glasses. So paint over the tags quick. Before everybody decides that section in Tumon is rife for gangland graffitis. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. This is KUSG Hagutnya. Coming up, Kevin Kerrigan with all the big news. That's coming in right after Fox News Live here in just moments. And maybe some new details on that Jeff Epstein case that's got everybody crying. Conspiracy theories between here. You know who's going to make all the movies out of these conspiracy theories, right? Harvey Weinstein. That's right. This is The Point.
escaped convict, now an accused killer. I'm Jane Metzler, Fox News.
It's always a great day in the state of Tennessee when you get a dangerous criminal like this off the street and get him apprehended.
Commissioner of Safety Jeff Long, that criminal 44-year-old Curtis Ray Watson, who escaped on a tractor Wednesday morning from the Western Tennessee Correctional Facility. He surrendered this morning in a soybean field some 10 miles from the prison. That field just 750 feet from the home of Harvey and Ann Taylor, where Watson was rummaging for food in a carport refrigerator around 3:30 this morning. Thanks to their Ring doorbell,
we could see every move that he was making.
She said, that's him. So I prepared for if he tried to come inside.
District Attorney Mark Davidson saying Watson will be arraigned this week on some very serious charges.
First-degree murder, aggravated sexual battery, especially aggravated burglary, and escape.
And
we're looking at whether or not we might apply the death penalty or seek the death penalty in this case. Yes, sir.
Watson accused of the sexual assault and strangulation death of prison administrator Deborah Johnson. Starting as a guard, the 64-year-old grandmother worked for the Corrections Department for nearly 4 decades. She lived in a house on the prison grounds. 5 children dead in an early morning fire at a daycare center in Erie, Pennsylvania. The victims, 8 months to 7 years of age. 4 of the victims were siblings. Their grandmother said their parents worked the overnight shift. That daycare center opened 24 hours, 7 days a week. No word on how that fire started. This is Fox News.
65 years ago, Bank Pacific opened its doors to our community. As we celebrate, we offer you a special 65th anniversary personal loan rate for as low as 4.65%. For travel, back to school, a wedding, do whatever you want with the money. We just want to give it to you for as low as 4.65% APR. It's our birthday present to you.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal opportunity lender, member FDIC, conditions apply.
IHOP now has buttermilk crispy chicken made with all natural chicken breast and a signature blend of seasonings. Why am I running? Because IHOP now has buttermilk crispy chicken made with all natural chicken breast and a signature blend of seasonings. Whoa! We're talking chicken sandwiches, chicken and waffles, even chicken and pancakes. But move it, Gray Van! IHOP has crispy chicken!
Run in to try IHOP's new buttermilk crispy chicken strips and pancakes for just $6.99. For a limited time, price and participating restaurants may vary.
Preliminary autopsy results expected shortly in the death of sex trafficking suspect Jeffrey Epstein. The 66-year-old found dead in his cell yesterday morning in New York City. The FBI and Justice Department investigating why he was taken off suicide watch after a week. Along with its nuclear program and missile tests, North Korea now accused of stealing billions.
Investigators at the United Nations are believed to be looking into at least 35 claims of North Korean cyber attacks. In a confidential report that's been seen by Reuters, experts say North Korea has made around $2 billion from what they call widespread and increasingly sophisticated attacks, stealing from banks and cryptocurrency exchanges in 17 countries. The experts saying that money then goes into North Korea's weapons program. Simon Owen, Fox News.
President Trump remembering his older brother nearly 40 years after his death from alcoholism.
President Trump told the Washington Post that seeing his brother, Fred Trump Jr., deal with his alcoholism has shaped his perspective as his administration attempts to take on addictions. Fred died of a heart attack at the age of 42, but throughout his adult life spent time in the hospital, having had part of his stomach removed. That experience, the president said, has influenced not only President Trump's goals for his administration, but also his personal lifestyle. The president does not drink alcohol, saying he fears he may be genetically susceptible to addiction. At the White House, John Decker, Fox News.
1 million people passed through the gates of the Iowa State Fairgrounds. Democrats running for the chance to run against President Trump among those fairgoers. And people have been casting their votes with corn for the candidate of their choice. Joe Biden ahead. I'm Jay Metzler, Fox News.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Family Finance in Agutya at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo, 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 8 a.m. this Monday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. A man armed with a machete attempted to rob another man outside the San Lorenzo laundromat on Route 1 in Jigo last Thursday night. It happened about 11:45 p.m. Officers from the Dededo precinct responded. The victim told police he was waiting in his car when an unknown man holding a machete approached, placed the machete against his throat, and demanded money. The victim said he managed to get a hold of the machete, push it away from his throat. He then pressed the vehicle's horn, and the suspect fled. Police now looking for that man, who the victim was only able to describe as being possibly local. Anyone with information about the crime urged to call Guam Police at 472-8911 or call Guam Crime Stoppers at 477-HELP. It's back to school tomorrow for the island's public school students, and once again this year, Guam DOE Superintendent John Fernandez says parents can rest assured that their children will be provided with a nutritious breakfast and lunch every day of the academic year for free. The bulk of the cost for the meals is provided by federal funds, but Guam has to put up a local match of about $5 million to cover the cost for the more than 30,000 students at the island's public schools. Fernandez said the number of students taking advantage of the school breakfast and lunch options has increased significantly over the past year, which shows that there is a need. And while expanding the program to all schools does cost more, he said it's a worthwhile investment that will ensure more students have eaten a proper meal before the start of classes. We'll have more news after this.
Coast 360 introduces our new youth banking program. Give your kids and teens a head start with Kids 360 and Teen 360, a program designed to help your child develop smart financial habits and learn about money. Introduce them to banking and get them on a path towards a thriving financial future. Plus, new youth members get a special lunch tote just in time for back to school while supplies last. Learn more at coast360fcu.com or visit your favorite member center. Coast 360 Federal Credit Union. Together, we thrive. Terms and conditions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
Mezcla Chamorro Fusion Bistro brings you island hospitality with a true taste of modern Chamorro cuisine. A bistro look that feels like home. Their menu features local and traditional flavors with a twist. From their famous Calaguan Hapa to fresh ahi poke salad and their award-winning barbecue ribs. Mezcla takes your favorite local dishes and serves them with extra flair that you'll only find at Mezcla Chamorro Fusion Bistro. Stop by their newest location in the Grand Plaza Hotel in Tumon. For reservations, call 969-2652. Mezcla, a true taste of Guam.
10 minutes past 8 a.m. here at The Point. The attorney representing former Guam State Historic Preservation Officer Linda Uggan has filed an adverse action appeal with the Civil Service Commission, suggesting there was a hidden agenda behind her termination. Attorney John Bell filed the appeal on behalf of Uggan last Tuesday. In it, he wrote, "It appears management terminated Uggan in a punitive manner, which," Bell said, "is strictly prohibited." He asked the CSC to dismiss or modify the adverse action that led to Uggan's termination. Department of Parks and Rec Director Richard Ibanez fired Uggan June 18th. Ibanez cited misuse of government vehicle and multiple complaints about unprofessional conduct towards other employees. In his appeal, Bell called the adverse action notice little more than a laundry list of petty grievances indicating management decided it was going to throw everything at the wall to see what sticks because of some hidden agenda against Uggan, he said. The CSC is scheduled to hear Bell's motion to void Uggan's termination September 17th. Talks have begun with the Army Corps of Engineers to conduct an assessment of the structural integrity of Guam Memorial Hospital. GMA's chief planner, William Kando, told the Guam Daily Post Friday he has been in contact with the Army Corps of Engineers, and the assessment will determine whether GMH, which was built back in the 70s, should be renovated or rebuilt. The Department of Interior Office of Insular Affairs has pledged to cover the cost of the assessment. Kando says the hospital is working with the Army Corps to develop the scope of work and the final cost to conduct it. That cost will then be provided to the Department of Interior, and once the funds are allocated, the assessment can begin. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now with a look at our weather.
Groovy, 8:11 in the morning, and there's going to be weather today. It's going to be nice in the sky part, but ugly in the water part. Partly sunny and breezy with isolated showers and maybe on some thunderstorms today. South winds up to about 25 miles an hour. Highs near 89 degrees, and overnight lows should be about 78 degrees. Sunset 6:44. Sunrise tomorrow morning should be about 6:07. Care should be taken around the waters. There's a high surf warning in effect through tonight along west and north-facing reefs. High risk of rip currents expected through Friday night along south and west and north-facing reefs, and a high surf advisory in effect tomorrow morning through Friday along west and north-facing reefs. Look, translation on all of that is the waters are ugly because we're proximity of a storm up in the area. Well, Mike will tell you all about that. We'll start with the weather radar from the Weather Center here at 93.3 The Point. What are you seeing, Mike?
I get a lot of my information from the National Weather Service, as we know, and they have what is called a forecast discussion, and they usually issue that sometime around 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
They have not issued today's yet because they are confused, and I am too as I look at things now.
Right now, huh?
Not right now. Looking at the radar here, we can see the stuff from Crosa moving away. Now we've got Blobich down to the south that may be moving in. I don't know. It may be moving in today. We'll have to see how it goes. I'm going to leave it up to the Weather Service to determine that. But that's what they expected to happen.
Mm-hmm.
They just expected this to happen a little bit earlier than what it may actually do. So we'll see how it goes. Right now, the official forecast calling for only isolated showers and some breezy conditions, but they may update that here in the next hour or so to bring us back to scattered showers by this evening. That's what I would think. I don't think by this afternoon we'll see very much, but maybe by this evening we could start seeing some rain. Looking at the satellite picture here, what we've got here is a classic monsoon tropical system. Sometimes they're called monsoon depressions, but this is actually tropical storm strength. If you look at the core of the system, right now the core of the system is almost as big as the entire system was just about 4 or 5 days ago.
Yeah.
What happened is it weakened a little bit.
Supernova.
Yeah, it weakened a little bit as it got over upwelling and cooler water temperatures and other climate situations that kind of weakened it. But it didn't lose all of its punch, and it held on to its monsoonal characteristics. With monsoon systems, you have a more uniform wind pattern across, so you don't have these intense winds at the center. You have them actually more uniform and even out on the periphery, which is why we're still getting these really strong southwest winds. Normally, when an organized system's that far away, we aren't feeling it anymore. We're getting easterly winds and whatever's coming next.
Up to 25 miles an hour today, and certainly having an impact on the ocean.
Yeah, and so this has been the big outlier here in the weather for the past 4 or 5 days. Looks like it's starting to move away now, so that'll allow this stuff from the east to come on in and get us back to normal. Weather Service has said we're looking at a drier midweek, and then maybe more moisture coming in by the weekend.
Right. Nothing on the southeastern side of this pattern to worry about.
No, not really. Just a little bit of blobage, and so nothing out of the ordinary.
Gotcha. That's news and lots of weather together because Michael is in love with this storm. So I likes to talk about it, just always talking about the storm. That's news and weather together here on The Point Sports.
Are you ready for some football? The Ray Gibson Show has got your NFL fix every Friday on Sports with Blake. Be a part of the action by going to yahoo.com's Fantasy Sports Pro Football Pick'em. Join League 3384 with the password Ray Gibson. Choose your team name and get your game on. Winners get a chance to win some awesome prizes that get you through the NFL season. The NFL Picks on the Ray Gibson Show is brought to you by Current Guam.
Portions of the Ray Gibson Show being brought to you by the following guys over at Ruby Tuesdays, where, you know, it is Monday. It's the last day of summer. Go get your stuff taken care of. Leave the kids at Grandma's house, and you and Mom go and happy hour tonight between 4 and 6 over at Ruby Tuesdays. It's their version of a back-to-school special. They got $5 or so for select wines and sangrias and select draft beers as well. $5 appetizers. You kidding me? Yeah, Ruby Tuesdays, 4 to 6, and all day tomorrow because it's Tuesday at Ruby Tuesdays. Portions of the program also brought to you by Security Title. If you've got a complicated set of deals that you've got to make but don't know where to begin, call Ron and Kim at Security Title. They have seen everything. They've seen everything. You know what? I'm kind of curious as to what their thoughts are on this Action sale. So maybe we'll reach out to Ron or Kim and find out. But call them and they'll hook you up. Also brought to you by American President Line's global presence with a local home.
Whether it's for business or pleasure, staying connected when you travel is always essential. And now when you travel to South Korea, enjoy free data roaming with Docomo Pacific. Navigate the city, look up the best restaurants, email back home, or post all your pictures, all on the go for free. Call 688-2677 today to make sure your postpaid account is ready for roaming. You plus Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Amen.
Some conditions apply. See print ad for details.
Amen. 8:16 in the morning. Portions of the Ray Gibson Show also brought to you by Take Care Insurance, specifically this part because they love it when we pretend to talk about sports. The guys over at Cars Plus, because over at Cars Plus, they have extended the summer. There's nobody going back to school there. Cars Plus has extended the summer of the Jeep until the end of August. Yeah? So you still got plenty of time to do the test drive. You got plenty of time to test drive different colors if you want to with the guys over at Cars Plus. And portions of the program, I don't know if I've got it in front of me, but I should be able to do this just on brain power. The guys over at Mescla also bring you portions of the program. Dungeness crab. It's a garlic Dungeness crab. What they get is you start, we get 2 pounds of this stuff, 2 pounds of Dungeness crab, and it is all cooked up in a special secret garlic sauce that they have, and they'll serve that to you on it's a bed of chow mein noodles, as a matter of fact. You should make reservations. There's a telephone number. Just look it up on the Google, and you can find it for Mescla, or just drive to the nearest one. There's one in Agania, and there is one in the Grand Plaza in Tumon.
Rediscover Talk Radio here. Your FM News Talk Superstation. This is The Point.
No, it's not Roey Tuesdays. It's Ruby Tuesdays. That's a whole other gig. At Roy Tuesdays, it's happy hour 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Vente, is that how it's pronounced? 8:17 in the morning, the Ray Gibson Show, until it's not going to be anymore. Blake Watson in the studio. How you doing there, buddy?
I am great. You know why I'm great?
I give up. Because there's football again?
Well, not even on the national scene, but yeah, tons of local sports to talk about. And there's also, I get to kind of...
What?
I get to kind of take aim this morning.
What do you mean there's local sports to talk about? And I know, there are 3 5Ks. They didn't run any of them.
I was going to, it's funny. I was cruising through Teadsden Saturday evening, and I was like, I wonder if Ray's out there. Right?
Yeah, I passed by there, too.
Just like I did.
On my way to Happy Mart, because I was out of beer. But no, there was, my back was twinging again for just a little bit, and I thought, you know what? I've got this big race in the Philippines that I want to be ready for.
And you have to run that one.
I got to run that one. So it's a 10-kilometer, and I want to run fast. So I'm going to just wait it out for just a little bit longer, wait until my back is 100%, wait until my legs are 100%, and then get back out there. So I'm sorry, especially to Sam and the Mignetlo guys, because I thought if there was one that I was going to do for sure, it was that one there, that early Saturday morning one. Yeah. But I checked, I looked, and all of the regular runners made it. So I think that we'll put that one there down as a success. Also, the one on Saturday night that was down in Agania looked like it was very, very successful as well. And by way of therapy, I went and rode the waves yesterday in Epal Beach.
But you survived. You were good.
Yeah.
You heated the advisories. I see out there.
Well, no, I went in the water as much as I could. I tell you what, because and I was telling everybody, it's like I shouldn't encourage people, right? But it's just like that ride at Onward. You know, they got that wave pool at Onward. That's exactly what it was like. And you get these families out there, and they got these kids in floaties and life vests and stuff like that. And here comes the wave, and they're riding it practically all the way to the beach.
You know, As I drove
and
in
they
this
were
morning,
having fun right up until the patrol boys came and tried to shut it down.
Right by. Yeah, as I rode in this morning, I passed East Agania, and right there in the East Agania Bay, it was high tide, and the waters, they were a little choppy, but it just looked like fun to me. Because, a lot of time it's low there, but it looked fun this morning.
So as much fun as it looks like, and I'm not,
Be careful.
I'm trying not to encourage people, but yeah, it was a good time. It'll save you $30 from going onward. Anyway, 8:19 in the morning. Must be time for sports with Blake. Oh, yeah. You want the scores? I got some finals here. In fact, they're all finals now in the preseason games. Does it matter? Doesn't matter, right? No. So I just give you the winners. Cardinals, Vikings, Chiefs, Niners, Raiders, and the Steelers. All of them came out victorious, and the losers were the Chargers and the Saints and the Bengals. The Cowboys lost to the 49ers, 17-9 there. And you don't care, right? Let me just reset the table here. You are not a Dallas Cowboys fan, though you are from Texas.
No, I am a Dallas Cowboys fan.
You are a Dallas Cowboys fan.
But I'm also their most critical, meaning I will definitely call them out for all of their junk and their junky decisions. Right. But I will say that my starting team, the guys that matter, like my starting quarterback, even though we lost, he played 4 snaps, so 1 series. He was 4 for 4. Meaning he didn't throw an incomplete pass, so that's good. And he also completed a pass to himself. Yeah, he threw it. It bounced off the lineman's helmet straight up in the air, and he caught it. So
I love that.
But
yeah, at least he caught it.
Yeah, he caught it. Yeah.
And what looked like the best game to watch, if you were watching any preseason, is the Steelers-Buccaneers game. That one came in just a couple of points away, 28-30.
And actually saw both of our guys, Eaton from the former Guam High Panther on the Buccaneers side, and then saw some Zach Banner as he got some reps out there on the front line. But
that's awesome.
And that was actually one of the only few games. I didn't watch it. But it was on, I think, Saturday morning. It was on in the background of my house. So I glanced up at it every once in a while. But yeah, it was, like I was telling Mike first thing this morning, 3 more weeks.
That's right.
3 more weeks of kind of mundane football, and then it starts counting in less than a month. So excited about that.
Yeah, Mark Cruz online because now it's football season. He's engaged. Says Niners beat the Cowboys 17-9. ESPN headline for the game: Elliott goes 4 for 4, including a pass to himself. And Niners sat 30 starters. What does that mean?
That means all of the people that will be playing when it matters didn't play at all.
Oh, they didn't.
No.
So
hey, that's good. That means your bench is really good. You got depth on your roster if they're beating. But I mean they're also beating other practice squads and other.
So does it ever happen where somebody will like really just show out at these preseason games and then become an actual player in the rest of the football season, where somebody just really distinguishes himself in the pregame and then turns into, and you go, wow, I guess this guy's got powers, star power as well.
That is actually why they play these games, to give the rookies and the free agents a chance to go out there and show what they can do.
Okay. All right, well, that makes sense then. Does anybody actually go out and show what they can do? I mean, and that's the point of the question. Is there anybody that has distinguished themselves that much? I mean, like a Zach Banner here, already playing a couple of seasons in this man's league. I mean, is this a real opportunity for him to show even more what he can do? So when it's regular season time, they go, Zach, where's that big kid from Guam? Get him out there.
And I think, too, it also kind of helps you move up because some of these guys are just practice squad guys.
Yeah.
So that means during the year, their whole job is just to practice for the Pittsburgh Steelers or whoever. They never suit up. They're not on the 53-man roster. So a lot of these preseason games can actually determine whether some of those guys can either move up or, like a Zach Banner who's already on the squad, maybe he can move up from like a third stringer to a second stringer.
Right.
And kind of advance himself. Like, for instance, Tom Brady, there's a rookie or maybe a first-year Patriot. It's a guy who has a really long hair, really long blonde hair. And, the Patriots are pretty strict, kind of like the Yankees on the uniform, no beard, stuff like that. But Tom Brady was so impressed by this rookie showing that he let the guy keep his long hair.
Interesting.
So there are stories like that. So, yeah, maybe preseason could determine whether you have to cut your hair or not, Tom Brady.
We got a couple of sports-related birthdays today. One of my favorite volleyball players of all time, Doris Cruz Pangilinan, is celebrating her birthday. It's on your rules. And Rodney Webb, I forget, he's rugby? Was Rodney a big rugby player?
Rugby,
I
soccer.
Think it's rugby. So one of those games. And Coach Joe Cepeda is celebrating his birthday. There wouldn't be a youth tennis program on Guam if it wasn't for Joe. So
right.
I want to say happy birthday to Joe for everything that he did for me when I was a youth tennis player and all the opportunities that he's opened up for Mason.
It is very cool, and tennis is one of those sports where it really takes. It's like swimming, golf. You really need a dedicated, long time, a student of the sport to kind of advance the knowledge.
Even if you've got talent, it's a Tiger. Even Tiger Woods has a coach.
Yeah.
So Joe's a great coach.
Even Serena Williams has a coach. Right?
And Gordon Mizusawa, who is not necessarily known for any kind of athletic prowess, but has been in charge of things like the Guam Culinary Association for a long, long time. Today he is celebrating his birthday and has been involved in competitions that have found the best, the brightest, the most original, and most talented chefs on Guam.
It's very cool. Well, happy birthday to my birthday neighbors, because I may or may not be celebrating a birthday this week sometime.
What does that mean? What do you mean you may or may not be?
Well, I definitely am celebrating my 35th birthday at some point this week.
Right.
Whenever I can get around to it.
Is there a plan? Should we alert?
No.
Should we alert the authorities?
I'm going to Torrey Pines to play 18 with Tiger.
For
my 35th
Whatever.
birthday.
8:25 in the morning. All right. So you said you had some local sports, right?
I do. I actually want to get to this because I relish in this because it was a poor decision made by the DOE.
He's going to call somebody out. Stand by.
I'm going to call DOE out. And the people who decided to go forth with the divorce of the IIAAG and DOE. Kickoff of the IIAAG football season set for August 23rd, and teams have been given the green light to start official practice on July 15th. Real quick before I get back into this article, only 2 teams are practicing. We'll get to those in a second, and we've actually talked about them. But the reason, here we go. Practicing over a month in advance would have been the ideal situation for all the teams in the league, but a holdup in GDOE's front office with coaching clearance has delayed practices and could affect the start of the season. Only one of the 4 members of the GW Geckos coaching staff has been cleared, with 3 still awaiting clearance. That allows the boys to still get practice in, but if the clearance across the board doesn't come before the start of the season, then the Geckos might be looking at an opening game forfeit against the FD Friars, who have been practicing. More on them in a little bit.
Yeah.
One of, if not the premier regular season game, of course, that will be a disappointment to everybody. As far as JFK, head coach Alan Blinn, able to recently get clearance on July 30th, the only member of his staff that is cleared after turning in his paperwork on July 23rd. He was then able to get the team together for their first practice July 31st, but they have not been able to get in a full week of practice. Southern, Tiedzen, Sanchez, and Ukadu at least all have their head coaches cleared, but that is about it. Teams not affected: over the 8 teams that make up the IIAAG Football League, only 2 schools are unaffected by DOE clearance processing: Guam High, who have been using the same coaching hiring regimen for over 30 years, and the FD Friars have all been hitting practice in pads without a hiccup. This gives the upper hand to the 2 schools with more practice time, being able to put in with little to no holdup. Let's see here. Yeah, so there you go. There's no guidance from downtown on when they can start hiring and announcing. There's no stipulation. They need to come up with a timeline for first quarter.
These are the guys that want to take over their own system. These are the guys that want to take over their own athletic system, and they can't even get out of the way of their own front office bureaucracy.
And it's as easy as this coach goes on to say they need to come up with a timeline for first quarter, and it makes no sense to try and do everything over summer. We should be able to start this process as early as fourth quarter. This is slated to be the final year of football under the IIAAG, with GDOE planning their separation from the league as early as January 1st. Attempts to get a statement from GDOE were made this week, but nothing yet. Yeah. I'll keep you updated.
All right. Well, it'll be interesting to see how this eventually plays out. And you're right. That opening week between GW and the Friars could be a walk-away win for the Friars. Don't even bother suiting up.
It's like saying, hey, we're going to have the Yankees and the Red Sox kick off the Major League Baseball season. Oh, but wait. The Yankees, they can't find their uniform, so they're going to forfeit.
Guess what? All right. All right. It's 8:20. It's the government you get, the government you pay for, the government you vote in. 8:28 in the morning, and we got news on the football pick'ems routine here. The preseason games do not go in the pick'ems. That's preseason stuff. Our pick'ems program brought to you by Current Guam and my friends over at GTA, because they're giving me an expensive prize to give away. It does not begin until the regular season starts. We're still a few weeks away from that. But so there's still time, is the point, to sign up. We've got 19 members now.
Got 19, man.
And let me see. 3 of them aren't playing. That's 1, 2, 3 of us.
Yeah.
All right.
We're going to
participate, but we can't compete.
So
that's the deal. So we'll help the grade on the curve, including my very close personal friend and sometimes substitute for Sports with Blake, Renee Logie.
Renee?
Renee is in.
Is she really?
Yes.
What's her name? What's her
Reason to Believe. because she's Buffalo Bills?
Actually, I think it's I Still Believe.
Oh, it's I Still Believe? Okay,
Yeah,
that's
Bill.
it.
Man,
I was
sorry.
thinking of that old Rod Stewart song. So, look, there's a reason to believe. But anyway, so Bill Leave is the way she spelled it.
It's a good thing she's nice and funny because her. Well, I mean, it's
she
not,
can
not
sing,
her
too.
fault. Can't
She
she?
can sing. We went to a karaoke one night, and
Yeah.
she can sing, that girl.
What's her go-to standard? Did you
Paper Roses.
Really?
No. You don't know whether I'm making that up or not. I'm just going to say, maybe next time we're in Las Vegas, you'll find out.
Maybe.
The club,
Maybe.
not the city. Anyway, so 8:29 in the morning. Got anything else?
No, that is it for, that's it. That's all I got. I mean, I had a couple other things, but
I'm looking to see if I've got anything here. Whether there's any other sports
I do got a couple. Something that won't take very long, and this is fun for everybody involved. Did you see that Iowa is hosting a game in 2020? Dyersville, Iowa. If that rings a bell to anybody, I'll tell you why in a second. But they are going to feature a 2020 regular season game between the Chicago White Sox and the New York Yankees. Those were John Kinsella's two favorite teams over the course of his life. John Kinsella, of course, the father of Ray Kinsella, the star of the movie Field of Dreams. Major League Baseball is using the Field of Dreams in Iowa for a one-off game next season. So the cornfield's going to be there, the exact field, which has been kept up in pristine condition since some kind of a state bought it right after the movie in the early 90s, and they've been kind of keeping it up as a tourist attraction. So Major League Baseball is going to go in there, build 8,000 temporary seats. They're going to glass in the back, like the back wall, so you can see the cornfield through kind of like the plexiglass, and then they're going to kind of carve out a trail through the cornfield that leads, I guess, spectators and fans, to their seats. So there's going to be one-off game according to Major League Baseball.
I didn't have a chance to print it out this morning, although I did notice that that Guam has come up in some international sports over the last couple of days. The big story,
We're playing rugby over in Jakarta.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
The
'cause
ladies.
I was wondering what the ladies.
The ladies,
yeah.
Olivia, co-captains Olivia Flores and Rose Calvo, two very well-known names. They are also longtime Asia Rugby Sevens team members for the U.S. women, or for the Guam women's national team, and they beat Chinese Taipei 31-7 in their first match of the Asia Rugby Women's Sevens over in Jakarta. I guess Olivia Flores Elliott, sorry Olivia, led the way for Guam. 2 tries. Kim Taguakta, Lavana Terlahi, and Lavina Terlahi, twins, added a try each. And that helps propel them to the victory. Up next is India, who blanked Chinese Taipei 34-0 in their first outing. So,
Matt reported 8 hours ago that India has stopped the depleted Guam rugby team.
okay, so there you go. Yeah,
That's where they end up.
29-14. I don't know about stopped, but 29-14. You can check them out. Asia Rugby Live on Instagram for updates, or if you want to watch any of the feeds that they have.
All right, gotcha. It's 8:32 in the morning. That's all the time we've got for to pretend to talk about sports. That's Blake Watson. He's going to finish the morning show over on Star 101. Kevin Kerrigan is going to do his last look at headlines here on The Point in just seconds.
Half a day. Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. I'm Jade Uggan of Umatic, and this is where I start my day. Listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Protehi itanonmo. Protect your land. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
That one didn't start around here, did it? Looking at, there's Bloomberg News right now at their bottom of the hour report. 32 dead after a typhoon in China.
Yeah, that was Lakima. That was the one that formed just east of the Philippines and then slowly
I see.
moved
Okay,
up
all
there,
right.
yeah.
So it did not come from around here.
No.
Huh. All right. So around the Philippines and then drifted all the way up there. 32 people have died as a result of that storm in a neighborhood. Weather can be a killer. It's 8:33 and time for headlines now from the Guam Daily Post. Look, it's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines of the Guam Daily Post this morning: dangerous surf swept one swimmer over the reef in Tumon yesterday. The swimmer pulled from the water about 2:30 in the afternoon. Guam Fire and Rescue medics rushed the person to Naval Hospital. CPR was performed en route. GFD spokeswoman Charika Chargalov was not able to provide a condition of the swimmer, and that condition remains unknown this morning. A half hour earlier in Mauricio yesterday afternoon, GFD personnel rescued 2 women who were in distress about 200 yards out in Billy Bay. On Friday, meanwhile, Guam police confirm one man who had been fishing at the Mauricio Pier drowned. Officials are encouraging residents and visitors alike to be aware. The National Weather Service has a high surf warning in effect through tonight. A high surf advisory will be in effect through Friday night as large west swells continue to generate dangerous surf along west and north-facing reefs, creating dangerous swimming conditions. The old Axion Hotel was auctioned off during a bid process conducted in district court on Friday. The winner was B-Side Partners, which bid $6.1 million for one of the principal assets of the Archdiocese of Agana. B-Side Partners is a real estate company based in Johns Creek, which is a suburb of Atlanta, Georgia. The auction was part of the ongoing bankruptcy proceedings for the Archdiocese, which has been forced to sell assets to pay off the more than 220 sexual abuse claims filed against former members of Guam's Catholic clergy. B-Side Partners has to make a non-refundable deposit of $100,000 in the next 45 to 60 days. The remaining $6 million will be paid on closing, which is expected to occur in late November. The Department of Administration is sending out 777 tax refund checks today, amounting to $2.1 million. The checks cover error-free returns filed on or before February 14th. As always, those who owe fines to the judiciary or payments to Guam Memorial Hospital will have their checks garnished. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
This is weird. There's not too much on B-Side Partners and the World Wide Web. You know, they got a website and things like that. Just kind of take a look and learn a little bit more about this outfit that has bought this property on Guam. And there really isn't all that much information out there. What other properties do they own? Where are those at? Who are the major players in B-Side? Now, if you go to, and I'll show you this online because this is the kind of the interesting stuff. Where's Romeo? Romeo, hack into these guys and get me some information on them. There's 3 dots on that, right? The little hamburger drawers that you got, and you can open these things up. Usually it opens up into like a sub menu with an about, or our partners, or contact us and things like that. So I thought that's what it would give me, but it gave me instead this: label, artists, collaborators, releases, fans, write the band, and log in. What the heck kind of thing is
Sounds like someone needs to work on their website a little bit. They're good at buying buildings, but not so good at being on the internet.
What kind of website thing is this? What would be the... I'm in. Wait. I'm going to log in with Lulian Guerrero's credentials. This is, by the way, how you get into all of the accounts in the government of Guam. The username is Lulian Guerrero. The password is I'm in. See if it lets me. Nope. Didn't let me log on. Darn. It's 8:37 in the morning. Did you see Kevin walk out of here? What? Get out of here, people. It's Monday, 8:37 in the morning, and that's iConnect time. Call iConnect and ask about how they can save you money, moolah, on your mobile and internet plans.
Hey, do you know what time the bank closes? I need to deposit my check.
You know you can do that from your phone.
I can?
With Bank of Guam's mobile app, it's easy. Just endorse the back and snap a pic to deposit it into your account. You can do this from anywhere, anytime, which means no rushing to catch the bank and no lines.
With Bank of Guam's mobile app and online banking, we're always open. Visit bankofguam.com for more information. Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Member FDIC.
Let me see now if there's anything that is going to be making it crazy for you. It was ugly in the last hour. Last time I was looking at the traffic, right now traffic, it was atrocious, but that was an hour ago. Let me see if there's still atrociousness on the roadways today. Yes, it does look like there is some right there at the intersection of where Kmart is, that intersection, and it looks like it's people either trying to get into Kmart or maybe down into the Tumon area. My guess it's the into Kmart here because tomorrow is the first day of school for thousands of students and teachers and administrators in the Department of Education, and nobody did any shopping all weekend long. We were at the movies or we were at the beach, goofing off, doing stuff instead of going back to school shopping. You can see ugly traffic at just before you get to St. John's. You'll see ugly traffic up to and coming out of that area over by the west, and just too many people people trying to get out there. 1 and 16 looking okay now. 1 and 3, a little bit busy on 3 trying to come out here. And you'll see traffic slowing down around the Harmon Loop intersection. 10 and 16, busy up and down that street, but otherwise it's passable. Rev and Tax, you might see some slowing down there. 8, 10, and 16 is okay, except you're going to get a slowdown just on that one good intersection that takes you into Teason, because even though I've been asking for them to do it, nobody has cut in a new way to get onto Teason, where there are going to be thousands of people going to work and school again tomorrow. So hit the road a little bit early if you can. 10 and 15, yeah, it's busy through there, and you'll also see some busy spots along the major intersections on Route 4 on the way into town. Don't see anything major out into town except a little bit of traffic in front of Navy Hospital. Traffic over at Big Navy and Sumai, as usual, this time running pretty slow. It's 8:39. That's right now traffic. This is The Point.
Parents, start your child's school year right with healthiness and fun. Complete your child's immunizations, annual physical, dental, or eye exam at FHP and receive a free gift for each exam visit. Perfect for back to school. Valid from July 15th to August 31st or while supplies last. Visit their website or Facebook page for more details. Call 646-5825 and press 2 to schedule an appointment today. Most private insurance accepted. FHP Health Center, our island, your clinic.
What do we got here? It's going to be 9 o'clock in the morning. It's a crazy Monday so far. Hope you're having a good time with the program. I can't believe how fast it is going today. And that's not a bad thing, at least not for me, because there's just so much going on Mondays around here. And my favorite part about Mondays is there's a lot to choose from in terms of topics, because you and I haven't had anything to tell. We haven't been talking to each other since Friday. So what happened to you this weekend? What's your big deal? What's your big plan over the weekend? Lots going on with me. Like I said, got some beach time in there yesterday. Avoided ironing 14 shirts, which is why I'm wearing a sponsor jacket, the sponsor shirt that I got from BMW, because they hosted my anniversary party. But anyway, having said that, that doesn't mean there isn't anything to talk about. Before I do that, let me jump back on Facebook Live, see who's hanging out. I got Lynn Perez there, Nate's Monty, and asking about her Saints loss. Yeah, sorry about that. Rick Leone is there. Good to see you, buddy. And Joe Cruz. We were talking about my friend Renee, who, as it turns out, really, really good in the food and beverage industry, and a great running buddy of mine, and also can sing. Kansas, we hit a karaoke bar, and I'm trying to remember when it was. We hit a karaoke bar, and I'm expecting, just kind of karaoke singer, right? But she gets on, and she starts belting it out. And songs I'd never heard of, but she did. They carried them all just wonderfully. Anyway, so she's a member of our football pick'ems, and you ought to become a member as well. I don't know that there is a limit on our football pick'ems on Yahoo. If there is, I'd like to see what that limit is. So follow the instructions. If you don't know what they are, call Mike. His number is 888-8255. You can go on the air if you want to, but just give Mike a call and say, how do I get into the pick'ems program? What's the code? What's our team number and all of that stuff? He'd be happy to get it to you. Cazendo, just putting down the word football. Appreciate that. And Daryl Taggarty. We're talking about the Action Hotel B-side partners, and Smug, who knows his way around a good conspiracy theory, says maybe it's just one of these little quick groups that started just for the acquisition. Could have been A-side partners for Action, but maybe that's too obvious. We'll put B-side partners down on the application. And gavelled up to the tune of $6.1 million for that piece of property. I don't know. Can't get a whole lot on the website. Doesn't look like there's any place on their website where you can even call and ask for more information. Daryl Taggarty, who knows how to do it as well. High bidder for Action. Is there Russian or Chinese money being laundered? Who should be investigating? Does that property include shoreline frontage? Is there a national security or drug smuggling concern by anyone down there? I don't know. I've never been on that property. I've never been there. I've driven by it a million times, obviously, on my way down south for whatever reason. I've driven by the place, seen it, always thought, well, that looks like it'd be a nice place to spend the weekend. Never had a chance to when it was a hotel, and obviously never had a chance to when it was the Redemptorist Mater, because, I'm not a priest. I'm sorry about the confusion. I'm sure this may come as a shock to you, but no, I'm not of that deep religious background, so I never had a chance to go and stay there when it was the Redemptorist Mater. $6.1 million. What could happen with the place? It wasn't that long ago, because I knew it was coming up for an auction pretty soon. I called Bart Jackson. I said, is this something I ought to be interested in? Is this something that maybe there ought to be some kind of, maybe just me and a bunch of guys will put together a hooey and see if we can come up with some dough and make our bid for the Action Hotel. My God, wouldn't that be crazy fun? Wouldn't that be just nuts fun? This is what I would do if I was the Action Hotel. First of all, I'd name it Gibson's after me, not the store, so that everybody automatically knew that this was not your average, ordinary, resorty kind of hotel. This is going to be fun from start to finish. If you can imagine, could you just everybody in the place dressing like they work at Cafe Havana, or what's the name of that fancy hotel in Manila? Shangri-La.
That one. Yeah.
That one. Yeah.
No, so you need to call it the RG Palms because it's in the tropics. So you got all hotels have to have palms.
R. Gibson Palms?
No, just RG Palms.
RG Palms.
Make them come in and ask what the RG
what
stands
the RG stands for. So it'd be the RG Palms, and we just have stunning women all over the place.
Absolutely.
And I'm not going to say there'd be gambling on the property. There'd be gambling on the property. And I'm not going to suggest that it might be a good place for recreational use of certain herbal products. It will be.
We could have
I'm just saying.
We
No,
could
I'm
have
just
a
saying it'd be a
humidor.
fun place. But I'd go in this direction. I would not make it a bargain hotel. I would not make it a bargain hotel. For $6.1 million, I'd take advantage of that low price and a great opportunity to turn that money over fast. I would make it the most expensive hotel on Guam. It would be all suites. Just all suites, baby. I'm not doing any of these, little 20 by 20s, 20 by 15 little rooms, beds like that. I don't care about that stuff. I want high rollers. I want big money coming into the place. I want people like this Jeff Epstein and all of his people, all of his money guys. I want them in the building. I want Trump's guys in the building.
You want it to be the place that people from Guam go for the staycation.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could just someplace where you can go and just get away with stuff. I think is the no one. I don't mean that the wrong. I take it the wrong way if you want to, but I don't mean it the wrong way. So I would make it one of these places where if you are of a certain level of celebrity and you just need to get away, if you're Jennifer Aniston, you're not staying at the Fiesta. I love the Fiesta, but if you're Jennifer Aniston, you're not staying at the Fiesta. And you can stay at the Dusit if you want to. They got nice places upstairs at the Dusit. I've been to many of them. But the thing is, you could leave. You could walk out of the building and then walk out of your room, and then everybody goes, "Oh, hey, there's Jennifer Aniston."
True.
Or hey, there's that guy that looks like George Clooney, Ray Gibson, right?
Yeah.
You want to go someplace and where your privacy is protected from the street. Hang out at the swimming pool, private. Absolutely private, no paparazzi, none of that stuff. So we need to have someplace in this part of the United States where you can go and get away with that, where they can go hang out at the beach, a resorty place. I'd put a helicopter pad down there.
Yeah, see,
Wouldn't
that's how.
actually use it, but I'd put one down there.
No, but that's actually how I would arrive. Because every time I go somewhere, people either want to buy pot from me, want me to play in their band, or go surfing with them. And
Exactly.
I don't really do any of that.
You know what? Just leave me alone, people. So that's what I would do. See, and I'm not alone. Smug Wimp, good idea. A Rocky Horror themed hotel. That would. You talk to some of the people in the hotel and restaurant industry, they'll tell you that there are some hotels here on Guam that are actually haunted. Halloween is coming up, so I'll save the topic.
Here's an idea, though. You take that hotel and you take out about, say, 20 of those rooms and turn them into movie-themed rooms. So you've got one that's Rocky Horror. You can have another one that's Field of Dreams, another one that's Underwater World.
Oh, I like. I don't know about those particular shows, but I know where you're at. Gone with the Wind. We do one with a Gone with the Wind. Just saying. Big Sister Shelley says Ritz-Carlton, Four Season types. Right. There is no place on Guam for mega buck spenders to go. Can you imagine? The Japanese, I always think in terms of Japanese and Korean celebrities, and maybe they like it here on Guam because they can come out here and be a little bit more anonymous than they could possibly be at their places in Japan and in South Korea. But maybe that's starting to change. Maybe their cult of personalities are to the point where they're getting a lot of devotee types, and they're looking at saying, yeah, I want to go to Guam. I've been to Tumon. It's really nice, but I'd like to go someplace where I've got a little bit more anonymity, where I can be a little bit more, independent, I suppose, of my reputation. There was a time where the Russians were coming in here in pretty big number. We're not talking about migrants. We're not talking about people that wanted to come out here for asylum. There's a lot of asylum seekers that are coming in, but there was a time where the ruble was looking pretty good. Oil out of Russia was looking pretty good, and they had not ticked off Barack Obama yet. And we had Russian tourists flying out here begging for some. Where are your five-star restaurants? Where's the five-star hotel? Where's the five-star treatment? They were out looking for that kind of thing, and there were a lot of businesses that just could not take advantage of their dollars out here because they didn't have that kind of five-star service. And we'd go for long-term stays as well. 888-8255-888-TALK. I'm going to go. Is this BJ on too? Yeah, BJ, I'm going to go to BJ before I get to Bob. Appreciate that while I got some time. 10 away from 9 o'clock in the morning. BJ Cruz on. Hey, how you doing, Nino, BJ?
Okay. What's up?
Well, I just hanging out thinking about that Accion property. I was just riffing on what I would do with it if I was going to get my hands on that hotel, which has turned it into one of these big, massive, high roller spend places, $5,000 a night, in a total suite environment. We'd give you butlers and all of that. Doesn't appeal to you?
Interesting.
Yeah.
No, I thought it would make a nice boutique hotel.
Yeah, exactly. For high-end boutique clients. Good. You and I are on the same page. There's a question that is floating around. I forget which newspaper I was reading it in, today's Daily Post or somewhere, where there is a call to the legislature to find some funding for medicinal marijuana regulations and rollout. And it looks like they're looking at the Healthy Futures Fund. And I thought you were the author of the Healthy Futures Fund. That's correct, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it was actually Dennis and I, yes.
Okay. So the question that I've got for you is, one of the plank owners in that, going back to your legislative career, is that one of the things that you envisioned the Healthy Futures Fund to go for would be for medicinal marijuana and setting that up as a therapy that would be covered?
Well, in as much as it is being considered medicinal, and it's going to help people with their suffering, it could be.
It could be?
It wouldn't violate the initial intent of the legislation.
Well, I suppose as long as some of the other things that the Healthy Futures Fund was lined up for, as long as those needs get met first, I suppose.
Well, yeah. I mean, all of those are being addressed, and if the legislature would just accept my recommendation to repeal the bonded warehouses and collect all the taxes straight up front.
What?
Well, no.
What, you mean a way for them to actually do legislation that could make money that wouldn't necessarily impact every man, woman, child on Guam?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't understand it because it really would help. I mean, revenue tax is really, really stretched to the ultimate limit. They just can't continue to follow this up. And though now there's only 3 bonded warehouses, they're still claiming that there's going to be a drop in Healthy Futures Fund, or at least initially there was in the first draft of the budget bill for this upcoming year. And that's impossible. I wish it was true. I mean, I've been fighting to get people to stop smoking, but unfortunately it's on the rise rather than going down. I mean, so the revenue should be going up, but for some reason we're still this major sieve is just losing a lot of money. And if you just took it at the front, then we wouldn't have to worry about it.
Right, and would make it a whole lot easier. The accounting would be easier. The money would be in our coffers and ready to spend almost immediately. And this is something that only requires 8 people at the legislature and 1 person at Adelup to sign off on.
Correct.
Are you aware that if it's even in the legislative version of the budget? I mean, you already wrote the paperwork, didn't you?
Well, I wrote a letter to the chairman asking for her to consider it because in my meetings with Revenue and Taxation, they've just almost literally thrown their hands up and just said,
nothing we can do, don't have the
we're
people.
trying, but there's no way that we can do this. The only way that this would be addressed is if it's collected up front. They don't want to say it. But I'm sure if there was a hearing that they would come down and not oppose it. but no one wants to introduce it.
You know, every once in a while, somebody from over at the legislature has got their ears on this radio station, so we'll see what happens, and maybe that's it's something that they can fold into the legislation that would actually have an impact in the bottom line in the government of Guam in a positive way.
Yeah, unfortunately, it hasn't had a hearing, so I'm not sure if it can go into the budget bill.
Well, you've got those issues as well. What do you think of what's happening with the budget bill, the dueling budgets, and seemingly the only thing that either side is going to agree on is the maintenance of that 5% BPT?
Putting a budget together is really difficult, and trying to make ends meet and trying not to put several hundred people out of jobs. You have to be really creative.
I suppose. Well, they haven't really gotten started with the fun stuff over on the budget conversation over at the legislature. Naturally, if you hear anything, send it to my WhatsApp, and I promise I'll maintain your confidentiality.
Okay.
All right. Hey, it's always fun talking with you, even this time.
Okay.
All right, I'll see you. 888-825-5888-TALK. Boutique Hotel, why not? At the Axion, that's what I'm talking about. B-side partners, Stephen Klee, and a local partner, it says. In an email to the Guam Daily Post, Klee stated, we are excited about the opportunity and grateful that the Archbishop, the approving committee, and judge all saw fit to approve our offer. We are continuing to evaluate our options for the highest and best use of the property. Whichever path we choose, our investment in this property will result in a tremendous physical improvement, a business that creates job, and one that many residents of Zonia, in particular, can enjoy. McCrouts 2. Can we do that? Can we have something like that? A McCrouts 2 down there? Maybe another place to stick a mescla? I don't know. 856. Bob Kelly's on the line. What do you think?
Well, what I think, just by the way, I'm listening to you deep into West Virginia today, so I'm enjoying the show.
Wow. That's a long way out in West Virginia, listening in West Virginia. That's cool. That's my favorite Virginia, by the way.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, I'm on my way to Baltimore for an APCO conference where I'll be taking some 911 workshops and classes. But going back to ASEAN.
Why are you? Wait a second. Hold on. Let me see if I can stir something up here. Why are you taking 911 classes and things like that? Any other kids from Guam going on that? Seeing as how we're supposed to be buying up a 911 system.
I haven't been told, but I'm doing it just right now because I'm certified in it, and there's some people that wanted to meet with me.
Yeah, okay. Well, I tell you what, when you get into the classroom, just walk around with your Guam flag and see if anybody comes up. Because I wonder if we're sending people to all the wrong things these days.
I have no idea. I missed the NINA conference because of a conflict, so this is my one to keep my educational credits up to date to keep my certification. Anyway, going back to ASEAN, I think the best use of that would be, as far as for Guam, a place for assisted and independent living for senior citizens. We don't have that type of a facility in Guam. It's got the right facilities. It's got a swimming pool. They could build small apartments into it for the senior citizens. They could put nursing care in there. We're in great need for that. That's what I was hoping when the doctors had, the one doctor going in for it, that's what he had in mind.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I would like to see down there.
Well, I'd say interesting, but not near as sexy as my idea with the girls running around like they just escaped the Shangri-La Hotel and Cafe Havana in Makati. I'd like to see something like that.
I don't think the senior citizens would mind that.
You know what? Come to think of it, you make a pretty good point there. Yeah. Don't you look at the radio and go sexist, misogynist on the radio. We were talking about the highest and best uses of it, things that people enjoy, you might like and might approve of. And so, don't jump onto my case for all of that stuff. I don't necessarily disagree. There will be a lot of, I think, great ideas that come out of it. But I hope, as they point out in their email to the Guam Daily Post, it turns into something where there is going to be some improvement on the facilities, major improvement on the facilities, and someplace where residents can go and enjoy themselves as well.
Well, obviously, if it was turned into an assisted and independent living facility, that would not quite be where everybody would necessarily want to go visit, except for their family members that might be there. But right now, I know of no place on Guam that's that good that could be turned into that kind of facility.
Yep. And to what degree is there a desire for a hotel or something like that on that side of the island? Well, the book on B-side and Guam is not completely written final. They haven't hit the last chapter on that book, so I anticipate that we'll be learning more about B-side as we get closer and closer to them coming in, grabbing the keys from the archdiocese and starting to do the renovation work. In the meantime, I'd start buying tools that you need if you're in the business. It's possible they might call on you to do some of that work. Bob, I got to run. I'll talk to you pretty soon.
Talk to you later.
Safe trip. Have a good time over at the 911 place. 9 o'clock in the morning. All right, newsrooms. Did you hear that? Bob Kelly's off to a 911 thing. Guam is buying a huge 911 system. Did we send anybody to that get-together as well? Anyway, KUSG, I got you. 93.3. This is The Point.
A deadly early morning fire at a Pennsylvania daycare center. I'm Jane Metzler, Fox News. Those firefighters in Erie, Pennsylvania, just after 1 o'clock this morning at a home which doubled as a daycare center, where a suspected electrical fire claimed the lives of 5 children ranging in age from 8 months to 7 years old. One victim, the owner's child, the other 4 siblings. Their grandmother said their parents worked overnight shifts, and the daycare operated 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 2 teenage boys jumped off the roof to avoid the flames. The woman who owned the daycare center airlifted to the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center. A neighbor who tried to rescue the kids from the second floor of that building also hurt. Fire officials tell the Fox station in Erie the building had just 1 smoke detector in the attic. On the lam since Wednesday, an escaped convict caught. 44-year-old Curtis Ray Watson captured in a soybean field about 10 miles from the Western Tennessee Correctional Facility. He showed up at Harvey Taylor's front door around 3:30 this morning. His Ring doorbell showed the escapee rummaging through a refrigerator at the carport.
I was frightened at first.
And when you recognized who it was?
When we recognized who it was there, it heightened it.
Watson captured just 750 feet from the house. Along with escape charges, he could also face the death penalty for the alleged sexual assault and strangulation death of Deborah Johnson, the prison administrator who lived in a house on the grounds. She had worked in the corrections department for 38 years. This is Fox News.
65 years ago, Bank Pacific opened its doors to our community. As we celebrate, we offer you a special 65th anniversary personal loan rate for as low as 4.65% for travel, back to school, a wedding. Do whatever you want with the money. We just want to give it to you for as low as 4.65% APR. It's our birthday present to you.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal opportunity lender, member FDIC, conditions apply.
Hi, welcome to this Subway ad for the new ciabatta collection. How do you want it?
I'll take the slam poultry.
Sure. Italian ciabatta with mozzarella. When hunger reigns, you're my favorite umbrella. Tasty garlic steak and provolone. With you, my taste buds are never alone. Savory chicken pesto, you have my affection. For you complete the ciabatta collection. Thank you. That was the new ciabatta collection by Subway. Limited time only at participating restaurants.
Guards at the Metropolitan Corrections Center in New York City tell the Associated Press they are extremely understaffed and overworked. The New York Times reporting a guard should have checked on sex trafficking suspect Jeffrey Epstein every 30 minutes, but apparently that was not done in the hours before he was found unresponsive in his cell, an apparent suicide by hanging. The 66-year-old Epstein had been on suicide watch for about a week last month after he was found nearly unconscious with marks on his neck. That suicide watch removed at the end of July. The FBI now investigating, and Attorney General William Barr has asked his department's Inspector General to investigate as well. We are just now learning that the autopsy has been completed on the body of Jeffrey Epstein, but they are awaiting further information at this time. At the request of those representing Epstein and with the awareness of the federal prosecutor, pathologist Dr. Michael Bodden was allowed to observe that autopsy examination, which is called routine practice. But again, no results as yet. A nice trend if you are hitting the highway this summer.
Gasoline prices are still declining. We have a 6-cent drop in the past 2 weeks to an overall average of $2.74. Added to the prior 2 weeks, it's a 9-cent drop over 4 weeks. And there could be some more to come.
Industry analyst Trilby Lundberg. There was concern this NASCAR driver was going to run out of gas at Michigan International Speedway. He didn't.
Kevin Harvick is going to hold him off. He wins in Michigan.
The call courtesy NBC. It's been a bit of a dry spell this year for Hardwick, but he had a good year last year and a good run today. I'm Jay Metzler, Fox News.
We understand what matters to you because at Docomo Pacific, we're a family too. With the Now Family program, Mom, Dad, and kids stay connected on the latest devices the whole family can enjoy. For just $155 a month, get 3 lines with 30 gigs of 4G LTE data each, and endless use of your favorite apps without affecting your monthly data bucket. Add more, get more, save more. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply.
Let's see. Portions of the program being brought to you by my pals over at Wendy's. They've got the $5 biggie bag. You're going to enjoy that because it's only $5 and we're all strapped because it's back to school. But anyway, so check them out and find out what is inside. They got this bacon double stack in there, so that's item number 1. Then you get fries, then you get nuggets, then you get a drink, right? All of that food for like $5. You cannot go wrong over at Wendy's today. Portions of the program also being brought to you by American President Lines, APL. We've got a global presence, but a local home. Guys over at Ruby Tuesdays, where they're celebrating the fact that it's the last day of the summer of 2019. And the recommendation for mom and dad is get rid of the kids for a couple of hours and go enjoy happy hour. You've been stressed out about back to school. Well, they've got a back to school special they call happy hour over at Ruby Tuesdays. We'll start you in with some $5 apps, and for another $5 might get you some select draft wines and sangrias and plenty more. So select draft beers, sangrias, and wines, right? So that's what they're doing for happy hour at Ruby Tuesdays. Again, 4 to 6 today, all day tomorrow. And all day tomorrow, of course, is for the teachers, right? So today is happy hour, mom and dad. But tomorrow, because it's the first day of back to school, it's all day. As soon as they open their doors, expect most of the teachers in the Department of Education to roll in and start day drinking. It's 9:06 in the morning. Who else do I got to do this for? Guys, Cars Plus. The summer... Hold on a second. I got to fix something. The summer of Jeep goes until the end of August, so you've still got plenty of time to go and do a test drive. Find out about your credit rate, what you qualify for over at Cars Plus, and while they're working on that, then you can decide what color Wrangler you want. They've got Compasses, Grand Cherokees, regular Cherokees, but in my mind, you say Jeep, I say Wrangler, and they got plenty of them in all kinds of colors at Cars Plus. Get one today.
The Coconut Wireless is back. The Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Hey, yo, 7 after 9 o'clock in the morning, Ray Gibson Show until it's not going to be anymore. Monday morning, as a matter of fact. What have we not covered yet today? What have we got in the sports covered? We got the guys over at, the Jerry Roberts Extra Point. Got a lot of headlines and news from the Guam Daily Post. Now it's the time of the program where, I like to refer to it as the small talk portion of the program, even though sometimes, some pretty important stuff manages to make its way through this last hour of the program. If you've got something you want me to talk about, I take requests. I'll riff on anything. 888-825-888-TALK, or send me a WhatsApp at 988-5874. Again, that is 988-5874. And can I just say thank you? We have a very active WhatsApp community here this morning. That's where I got this meme here. And I got to tell you, I love it. Epstein's prison nurse, and it's a picture of Hillary Clinton all dressed up to look like Nurse Ratched from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Brilliant work on this meme here, and more to the notion that Epstein's suicide in prison is being accepted as anything but a suicide. There's all kinds of people that are yakking about this. Of course, you got this one here. Wow, I can't believe the guard who was guarding Jeffrey Epstein was killed in an automobile accident tomorrow. So you think there might be is there another one? Do I have another one? Which one? The Cotter one. Okay, stand by. I think that was here. And then this one here that I found. That's funny. Go.
Welcome back.
Don't do that to me. And don't do that to me. I'm from that era. And so I remember sitting and watching Welcome Back, Kotter in my grandmother's living room, and Chico and the Man with Big Sister Shelley in Grandma's living room. And whenever I hear the theme song to either Welcome Back, Kotter or Chico and the Man, I immediately go back to those days. I'm 11 years old again, and I remember being 11 years old, and like I said, growing up in Grandma's living room, Big Sister Shelley, waiting for Uncle Jim to come home from carousing in the bars and the nightclubs all night. There was never, ever, ever a better time in my life. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been happy a bunch of times in my life, but at that time when you're just a little kid and you got nothing to worry about except, I don't know, homework.
Yeah.
That was it. That was a great time.
Another show we'd see often in that block.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. But I don't get misty. See, this was not a theme song. That's not a theme song that would make you misty, right? Welcome Back, Kotter, John Sebastian's version of that, and Chico and the Chico and the Man with Jose Feliciano,
which we play on Bus, by the way.
So you hear it, but not the version from the show,
right?
It was the album, like the album cut.
Mm-hmm.
But you listen to those songs, and if you were the same age at around that same time, watching that block of programs, and it'll make you misty. You'll just sit there in that warm bath of nostalgia for as long as you possibly can, and never mind any of the problems that we've got to deal with right now. It's drugs, crime, divorce, whatever. None of that makes any difference because I'm 11 years old and I get to watch the Sweat Hogs again.
Another show I can watch endless repeats of, and I'm sure everyone listening will agree, but anytime the Carol Burnett show and I can see it, I just watch and watch and watch.
Oh,
and
one
it's
to the
just
other.
like watching it all over for the first time.
Yeah, they're brand new every single time. The great improv, the sketch comedy that they did on those programs, and I'm glad that nobody's ever trying to do it again.
Yeah.
And the way that they could be political without pissing everybody off, that was another just stroke of genius that I think that programs like that could do. Any of the Tonight shows.
Yeah.
Any of the Tonight shows, because as far as I'm concerned, a Tonight show anymore is a great pop culture historical documentary. You watch those things now, and you see some of just the absolute greats in comedy and entertainment, politics, and sports, and they were all sitting next to Johnny Carson at some point. And I tell you what, it's one of those, I can watch those things as well. Every once in a while, I'll go on a Johnny Carson binge on YouTube and just look up all of those great names. Johnny Carson and Jerry Lewis, Johnny Carson and Dean Martin. And anytime Don Rickles was on the show, gold. Comedy gold. Don Rickles is the funniest man in America.
He quite literally was my reason for living as a child, just to see Don Rickles.
There's a great story about Rickles and Frank Sinatra, and I'm not gonna blow the story. And they tell it on YouTube. So if you get some time later on, if you're looking for something that'll just make you laugh until tears come out your eyes, go and look that up. Johnny Carson, Don Rickles, and Frank Sinatra. Just watch that one episode that they got there, and it'll make you laugh till you cry. 9:12 in the morning. Let me just jump back into some headlines here. Make you laugh till you cry. I love today's Guam Daily Post. And I've juxtaposed it with I love this. The two different stories that the two different printed newspapers that we have are telling people. The Pacific Sunday News. Hey, surf's up. Let's get out there and go and hit the water because the surf's up's going to be fun. There's a picture of somebody actually riding the waves because the surf is up, encouraging everybody and their brother to go out there and find a reef spot and jump in the water because the surf's up.
And it's my theory that the news is actually being run by a much younger management team, and that's why those headlines are like that.
And maybe. And then you've got the Guam Daily Post with this is what happens when you tell people surf's up. Rough waters claim life. Be very, very careful out there. And I'm smiling while I'm talking about it because the irony doesn't escape me. But be careful. Especially if you're going out there with little kids. And if you're like near to shore, within 20 or 30 feet of EPAL Beach, I'm not going to give you a hard time. But I did see a guy last night, and he's either the bravest or the dumbest I've ever seen in my life. He was out cruising by where the reef was. He was out cruising there on a stand-up paddleboard. And I thought, this guy's going a long way. I'm going to hate to have to go and rescue him. But you know what? He had the skills. He did a good job. He came all the way in. And was able to, get his exercise out. And probably the view of the churning, boiling ocean yesterday just must have been incredible. Whoever is going to be doing the most talking gets to sit directly in front of me. Everybody else, find a happening spot. We have cameras in this. Got folks walking into the studio. You're one of the main speakers, aren't you? Yeah, even though she's pretty, swap places with her, because I'm going to want to get a lot of your conversation on the radio as well. Sorry, folks, we had a last-minute opportunity to bring some folks in to the studio to talk about a conference that's going to be taking place. This is going to put on hold the conversation that I wanted to get into about the Attorney General who says we need to justify charges, and there's a quote that they attribute to him, John O'Connor does, says, "When I wake up and I see something move from a first-degree felony down to a misdemeanor, I also ask the same question," Camacho said. And I'm trying to figure out why Camacho has to ask any questions at all. He is the Attorney General. He's the boss of the place. Don't they clear this with you when it's time to say that somebody has gone from a felony down to a misdemeanor, and we're essentially going to give them a slap on the wrist? Didn't they? Does it not have your initials on this?
No, it goes to his assistant if it needs clearance at all. A lot of times these guys are just given the latitude to make the deals they need to make to get the courts moving.
That's got to stop, AG. That's got to stop, Levin. In 9:15 in the morning, 888-8255. Hold on to that number. You might need it. I was sent over the weekend a copy of a circular that was talking about the Island Circular Economy Industry Workshop. It's going to take place day after on the 13th, tomorrow, at the University of Guam in the Leon Guerrero SBPA. And there's a little bit more that we're going to learn about this. Amanda Jordan is here, and Dr. Rajesh Bush.
Raj Bush.
Okay, all right. I'll practice that. And my name is Ray Gibson, by the way. Welcome to the program. I appreciate you guys coming in.
Thank you, Ray.
Well, we had the opportunity. We were originally thinking this would be a cool thing to talk about on the phone, but apparently you're in the area. Okay,
Yes.
well, I'm glad you're here. Mike, do me a favor, grab that microphone as well, and make sure everybody is up here. So it is the reuse and repair, recycle, manufacture, and use circular economy industry workshop. Now, this is not one of those things that's going to lecture me about stop throwing away my plastic bottles, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, just so I know, what I'm.
It's not going to lecture anyone to do anything. It's a workshop that encourages people to look at waste as a resource, and how do you turn that into economic growth, if you will? How do you create jobs? How do you create firms? How do innovators and entrepreneurs bring ideas to the table and say, hey, we've got this pile of material that otherwise we'd bury.
Yeah. Let's
make some product out of it, and let's create jobs.
So I'm a fan of waste. I mean, talk to me about reduce, reuse, recycle. I'm the guy that hoards stuff. I find things over at the beach and I bring it to the house and decide I'm going to turn this into something. Maybe it'll be decorative. Maybe there'll be some kind of function. Maybe there'll be some kind of form that comes along with it. And I'm pretty sure that cost me a marriage, at least one of them. But the idea that there should be second, third uses of things.
Right. Exactly.
Appeals to me.
Yeah.
And you're telling me there are ways that I might be able to take that same drive and turn that into industry.
Exactly. That's the intent. Exactly. So, Austin, you might want to talk about GUMA and some of the participants, but that's what we're trying to drive. So this workshop is basically going to have people think about how you might be able to do that, how you use design thinking, how do you use systems thinking, things like this.
I don't even know what those are.
Well, design thinking, I'll let Amanda talk about design thinking. Go ahead.
Design thinking is about embracing design principles and applying them to entrepreneurship. So how do you rethink a system of a product within a supply chain to be longer lasting and more environmentally friendly?
Okay, so as I say, secondary, tertiary uses out of them. Plastic bottles as an example, and I think Austin will remember. Austin Shelton, right?
Yes, sir.
It's good to see you. Good to have you back in the studio again.
Thanks, Ray.
It's been a while. How's your sister doing?
Doing well.
Is she back from the national conference from legislators?
I believe so.
Okay. Who paid for that trip? I'm just I'm sorry. The political conversations can take a lot of different directions. So we reduce, I got him. He's a guest on one thing. I might be able to bring him in as a guest on another thing. At any rate, so we talk about, plastic bottles, and I've decided I want to be one of those guys that does not, unless it's absolutely necessary, use a plastic bottle. But if I do use one, I start to feel guilty because I'm starting to look around and go, okay, what else can I use this bottle for? And is there a way that we can get a lot of these plastic bottles? We'll get them and we'll put them in some kind of melty device after we've cleaned them up, and then make wooden planks out of them and build houses that can withstand typhoons. It's done already, right? And that's that design thinking that you were talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. So pairing design thinking with entrepreneurship comes up with these types of concepts. It's like you said, reduce, reuse, recycle. Recycle is the last R for a reason. And unfortunately, the way plastics are designed now, there is not that intent for it to be reused and turned into something else.
They were made into the shape of what it was that they were going to be used for. It's for packaging. It's for holding drinks. It's for holding diapers. I've got another one of these things. If Austin can help me out with this. I like. There's what's the name of those crackers that I like? Skyflake crackers. I love Skyflake crackers. So I buy them in bulk. You can buy a plastic box of Skyflake crackers. And once I'm done eating the Skyflakes, then I sit around and go, okay, what can I use this box for? There's got to be another use.
It used to be metal, remember?
Yeah, I remember when they used to be metal. But now they make them out of plastic. And now the thing is they're plastic and they will last literally forever. So I'm trying to figure out what clever uses I can use for these things. I use it to feed the dog, hold dog treats, hold dog snacks, throw something else into them so that they've got a different life.
Exactly.
The same thing our grandmothers used to do with the tub that the butter came in. Right? You take that. All right, that's for holding leftovers, et cetera, et cetera. But those are things that we do on an individual scale. What do we do at an industrial scale? What do we do that actually creates some kind of a job for somebody?
Yeah, so right now we're seeing a lot of research being done on micromanufacturing and microprocessing, right? Because manufacturing at the scale it usually operates is not feasible in places like islands. And so within the program that we oversee at ASU, we have entrepreneurs who have created a small-scale system that can take plastics waste 1 through 7, break it down to its flakes and pellets, and micro-manufacture on the spot within the same system smaller products. So finding ways to leverage that technology and make it more widespread and available is one way to do it at a larger scale.
Now, we're talking generally about things that are already in our waste stream. Are there things that we can do with green products? My friend Pam Duvall just sent me a link to a fella that has made these invented leak-proof bamboo water bottles for daily use. So it's bamboo, and he's fashioned some kind of a cover on it.
Those are pretty cool, too. Did you know that our bamboo is invasive? And so it needs to be pulled out of the river because it's causing a lot of extra erosion. And so we are actually bringing some handicraft experts in from Indonesia that are going to teach us how to create a new industry out of bamboo. And that's all of those circular economy concepts that we can create new industries in an island context.
There's and everybody's got a house that does something, right? So somebody once upon a time gave me these local flowers, and they were put the container was made out of bamboo. I didn't want to throw that away, so that's what holds all of my cooking tools now. They've gone into that just because I thought it was a clever and unique and local way to put that kind of green into my kitchen. But there's a ton of other things that you can do with bamboo. People have been working with bamboo for a million years, but you can marry up new technology with the old technology. One of my favorite forms of phone amplification devices is you take a piece of bamboo and you cut a place in it where you put the phone, you turn on your Spotify, your Pandora, and play that through the phone, and you put it inside, like I said, inside what is basically a little echo chamber, and it will amplify the noise coming out of it. And it's wood, so it cleans up a little bit of the sound. They say I'm in love with the topic and want to throw this other thing out at you, and it's something that I've been talking about because I'm hoping that it might inspire somebody to make the investment, because it's not a whole lot of money in my mind anymore. But I've got a bottle of a Cabernet from Wente at the house. It's almost empty. I drink a product called Oro no Men C. Those little bottles of energy drinks. They're really, really good for you, I'm told. Wake me up. That's why I'm talking fast. Anyway, so I drink it, but it comes in glass bottles. We don't have a glass pulverizer here. And it seems to me if we did have one, there's a billion things that we could do with the pulverized glass.
Exactly. So that's the micromanufacturing, microprocessing that Amanda talked about. On the mainland, part of the problem with the large-scale processing facilities, plastics or glass. I mean, glass is recycled really well in the U.S. on the mainland.
Well, at the very least, pulverize it and take it back to the beach.
Exactly. Yep. So there you go. So the idea is that these smaller-scale solutions are what's going to work for a lot of urban areas, which are effectively islands, if you will, and island states. Like for Guam or for Hawaii. Those are the kinds of solutions that this kind of an approach is trying to promote. And it's locally derived, it's locally innovated, locally created.
I'm trying to think in terms of the retail value of the end product again. We were talking about the bamboo and things that you can do and a whole economy that can come up with people that are creative in the uses of bamboo, whether you're making an amplifier for your iPhone or whether you're putting together...
Here's another great example.
I was going to say, I've got that too.
This is made out of a banana tree, right? There's a small company in Kosrae that took discarded banana trees. You have to throw away your banana tree after you harvest the bananas. And they've created over 20 jobs in a factory creating these things that they market now as vegan leather. And they can sell it all over the world on Amazon, creating wallets, notebooks, other products. And so
you slap a I Love Guam logo on that, or they're processable so that they can be overprinted pretty handily. And that one there's got the thing from the University of Guam. There's no reason why other island brands couldn't take advantage of that as well. GVB needs to be marketing those.
Absolutely, and we have our business cards printed on this too. And there's a lot of things you can do with it. There's also in Pohnpei and in Yap, they're making plates out of betel nut palm leaves. The end of the palm sheath. Put it into a press. Put a little bit of heat on it, and then you can even take these plates that come out of it and put it in the oven at 350 degrees for half an hour. Without them burning.
I'll be darned.
So, and then you replace our need for styrofoam.
There's a method, a friend of mine, Leo, will cook chicken the same way. And he uses that, you're talking about the sheath, right? He'll take that out and we'll sauce up the chicken and do all of that stuff and then cook with that. And that's his method of reusing, if you will, something that would have been thrown away. And frankly, there's enough beetle palms around here on Guam. You might be able to harvest a whole bunch of those, send them to Mescla, send them to Proa, and see if there's something that they might be able to do with those.
And so we're starting this Guam Green Growth G3 initiative, and this is our first step, having our partners from Arizona State University to come in here and help us with the workshop. But one of the initiatives that we're doing with Guam Green Growth is to set up a makerspace. So those glass bottles, we're hoping to have a furnace where you can make products out of that. They're really cool handicrafts that you can see in some cities if they have that furnace.
Okinawa, right down the street, Okinawa. People have been drinking in Okinawa for 500 years, and they've saved up all of the glass. And somebody went out there, and they've got these beautiful. It's called the Shisa. Shisa is the name of their mascot, right? It's a dragon kind of dog creature or something like that. And there is a glass works there that takes all this recycled glass and will sell you versions of the Shisa at very tony prices. These things aren't cheap, and they break easy. So you have to go back and buy some more of them. But that's what they're using with glass out there. And it occurs to me that there is a whole lot of glass around here. I do some hiking out in the boondocks all the time. There's glass behind what was the old top of the Mar going back 60 years.
Well, right now I think Guam Solid Waste is breaking the glass down and they use it for landfill cover, but they could be doing something that adds a little more value. And as Dr. Butch says, that we have to stop thinking of waste as waste and think about it as resources. So here's a good number for you to think about. Guam Solid Waste Authority spends $160 right now per ton of waste to put it in the landfill, $160. But it's $600 per ton to send the plastic to Indonesia, 1 ton of plastic. And so if we can find an entrepreneur can come to our workshop tomorrow and think about that problem and recover some of that cost, we can do something here on Guam and turn it into a manufacturing business and keep more dollars here in Guam, making us more sustainable.
But we still have to break it down to a raw material that we can use and that we can manufacture something from.
Sure, possibly.
And so is that $400 and something gap enough to create that industry?
Talking about your money or mine?
Well, no,
it's an opportunity.
Yeah,
it's an entrepreneur to create a solution that's somewhere in the middle.
So I think in my mind, how do we marry this up? I mean, obviously, there's a lot of people with the desire. There are a lot of people with the imagination on what they might or might not be able to do with something. So it comes down to being able to marry those people up with the money. Is there a component in your lecture tomorrow about that? Where we might be able to find, I mean, where's the venture capital behind all of these environmental ideas?
So these kinds of things we'll talk about at a very high level. It's a one-day workshop. So they're going to be talking about these kinds of things and these kinds of opportunities. You're not actually developing that solution in the workshop, but the idea is that after the workshop, if any of these opportunities are viable, like the banana leaf idea.
But here's how it connects, Ray, is that we're working with the GUMA Business Incubator, Guam Unique Merchandise and Art. So they've been pumping out dozens of entrepreneurs, and they connect them through our Small Business Development Center at the University of Guam to small business loans. So those people will be in the room. Some of the previous GUMA cohort people will be there, so they have the resources and the connections to get those type of funding opportunities to fund these ideas.
I was going to say there's a whole bunch of logos down at the bottom of the paperwork, and maybe we'll spend a little bit of time talking about who these people are and how they're going to be able to contribute. Since we are talking about ideas that could drive the economy and new industries here, looks like Mel Mendiola and others from the Guam Economic Development Authority will be in attendance?
Yes.
Okay, so that in and of itself is a pipeline to dough, either a direct loan from them or loan guarantee that they will do for entrepreneurs here on Guam. That's possible.
So that's one of Mel's priorities at GITA, and so she's a big partner of this effort for our Guam Green Growth.
America's SBDC is going to be there. Same thing. If you get turned down a whole bunch, there are ways that the Small Business Development Center might be able to help you with your idea. That light bulb idea that you're going to have at this conference. GUMA is going to be there. We've talked about some of the things that they do. Although I do want I want to know more about them and where some of these items are. These unique merchandise and art things are.
Yeah, there's a few small companies that you might notice the names, like the Cham Glam. Ursula Herrera does it with natural botanicals, creating makeup and perfumes and things. It's a really,
I didn't hear about that.
You know where you can see all these products is at the Guam Museum store. That's where all the GUMA supported businesses are at, and that's a great place to get local products now if you're looking for gifts or things to bring with you off island, or just give to your family.
They have good coffee there too. All right. The ASU, the Arizona State University. Who are these guys? Kamehameha Schools.
Yes, and it's the Global Consortium for Sustainability Outcomes. That's how we're putting this all together to start off for the Guam Green Growth Initiative. So we, University of Guam, created a partnership with Arizona State University about a year ago. Our senior vice president led a delegation of us out there. We met with Arizona State University's president. He's the president of the largest public institution, over 86,000 students. From that meeting, they invited us to join this Global Consortium for Sustainability Outcomes. We're now partners with 12 other international institutions. We can apply for seed funding, and so our first proposal was together with Kamehameha Schools and Arizona State University to start stimulating circular economy industries and islands. So Dr. Butch and Amanda are on their way from Arizona. They stopped in Hawaii first. They did a workshop there, and they're here now, and we're going to be working on more proposals to find more funding to help stimulate these industries going forward.
Do we have anybody from the Outer Islands, Micronesians, coming in that are going to participate in this?
Not quite yet. That's definitely a next step. We have our annual conference on island sustainability every April, and we're hoping to have some sessions and lessons on that in the future and start bringing in more of these industries. But we do work closely with Matt Simpson, who does the green banana paper.
I think that, somebody just gave me one. It's a Post-it note holder. So you've got the Post-it notes, and they don't make that, but they make a holder and it's super, super attractive. And it's got something on my desk. And I really appreciate the idea that you can do this kind of thing. I'd recently read up on a certain kind of hydroponics that people were doing with the carcasses of the banana trees, right? So you've got the banana, you got to cut it off. You make little holes, and you put marijuana seeds in there. Just as an example, you don't have to put marijuana seeds, but I mean, there's
lettuce works very well.
Lettuce, whatever. So 932, Reggie, how did you get into this game?
What's
your background?
I'm originally an engineer in aerospace, and I got into business development.
What?
Yeah. Many years ago.
Hold on a second, guys. This is a first on the Ray Gibson Show. I'm actually talking to a rocket scientist.
Anyway, so after my engineering career, I got into business development and renewable energy solutions. That's where I learned about sustainability.
Yeah.
and it became clear that this is kind of the way forward for economic development, for growth. And so that's kind of my short story of how I got into sustainability. And circular economy is something we've been working on with City of Phoenix for about 5 years now. And it started with their solid waste problem as well. How do we create jobs? How do we create solutions that prevents us, stops us from burying this stuff?
Well, you can burn it. Did anybody look at waste energy?
So Europeans burn it. Incineration is an idea, but why not keep it in useful, valuable use and circulate the stuff as long as you can until you get to a point where, okay, we can't do anything else with it, let's burn it.
Now we can burn it.
Right.
You know, derive the calories out of it, and then you've got another value that is intrinsic to the product, and that is energy.
That's correct.
You know, I'm glad to hear that we're on the same page there, although I had not preconceived the idea that let's recycle these products as many times as we can before we put them in the fire.
Yeah, because once they're gone, they're gone.
Yeah.
And then you have to make new virgin products from raw materials taken out of the earth, and that continues the same process.
I was going to say, or you know, where you take these things and use raw materials, other renewable things that you might be able to use, things that come out of trees, things that come out of the bamboo, things that maybe come out of the ocean or the beaches, one way or the other, and just you design them for a lifetime of use as opposed to single use.
Right.
Yeah. Plastic bags. What about you?
Yeah. So my background is in design and sustainability. So. Fortunately for me, I found the perfect position. I actually oversee our local incubator program, the Risen Incubator. RISN stands for Resource Innovation and Solutions Network. And so we are circular economy oriented. We only work with ventures that are operating in this space, trying to create new business models and solutions.
I got you. Well, Amanda Jordan, by the way, is her name, and I appreciate you coming in here. I'm thinking in terms of who's going to be doing some of this work. The banana paper, the vegan leather, as you call it, that is coming out of Pohnpei right now. I imagine that
Kosrae.
that is coming out of there. I imagine that there are folks that are earning a decent living doing that. I'd like to think in terms of another market that could be used more, and that is maybe as a prison industries. Are there a lot of situations where you've got these renewables and materials that can be re-engineered, as you say, designed, thoughtful, all the way out, and say, okay, put these in the hands of prisoners, give them something to do, give them something that will help support their containment while they're incarcerated. Are there any of those that you've been working with?
Not directly, but we are actually exploring that opportunity locally with a women's prison in the Phoenix area. So we've just started kind of early phases of that initiative through our entrepreneurship and innovation division out of ASU.
Now, you still pay them a living wage, but I mean, that's money that could go towards them supporting themselves while they're in prison, maybe restitution for any of their victims or anything like that. I mean, it just seems to me if we're going to upside, let's upside all the way. I'm dying to ask a question because in this program, for whatever reason, everything eventually comes down to either cannabis or hemp. And I've got to imagine that you guys have investigated. I mean, we're here on Guam, right? I mean, and it's a big conversation anymore these days since there've been some changes to the federal law. Are there things that we ought to be doing with hemp as a primary resource?
Great question. We've not explored that very much in the state of Arizona. There are some entrepreneurs.
Nobody smokes marijuana or grows hemp in Arizona.
Well, we are only at the medical level still. It's not free for all recreational like some of the other states, but some of the entrepreneurs we've worked with in our incubator program have gone on to partner with other entities out of Colorado because now that the cannabis industry is growing so quickly, they have all of this waste accumulating, organic waste, and now it's how do you compost that? You can't necessarily mix it with traditional food waste because of regulations around certain things, and so those are also kind of in the early stages. How do we mitigate this problem too?
The federal language that needs to get gotten through on all of that as well. I ran across an interesting story last week with all of these CBD oils and tinctures and all of these CBD products that are out there legally in the United States of America. There are currently no legally licensed growing facilities for CBD for hemp and CBD. So the question that everybody is asking is, if nobody's licensed any of these properties, where is all of this stuff coming from? And so they're going to be looking out for all of that. Also, thanks for bringing these guys by. I'm glad that you were in the area.
Yeah, thanks for having us. The workshop's tomorrow at the University of Guam. If we actually filled up, but we opened up a couple more spots. If you'd like to grab them, it's you can call Miracle 482-0254, 482-0254, and sign up for one of those last spots we just opened. It'll be 9 to 5 tomorrow at the School of Business and Public Administration at UOG.
When are you guys coming back? You need a
yet.
tan. You need to get
I'm
some
working on
beach
it.
time. You need to get out there, grill Mark's, sweetheart, and get yourself a tan. So you're going to bring him back, right?
Hopefully, yeah.
Yes.
This is the beginning of our partnership. We hope that a lot's going to come out of this, and we're going to be able to grow a new green economy here in Guam.
I like the idea. It's 9:38 again. The guys, if you want information, Miracle's number is 482-0254. It's 9:38. That's iConnect time. Swing by the nearest iConnect and learn what they can tell you about saving yourself some money in what's left of 2019. Back to school plans. Better believe they've got them at iConnect. 888-8888.
Coast 360 introduces our new youth banking program. Give your kids and teens a head start with Kids 360 and Teen 360, a program designed to help your child develop smart financial habits and learn about money. Introduce them to banking and get them on a path towards a thriving financial future. Plus, new youth members get a special lunch tote just in time for back to school, while supplies last. Learn more at coast360fcu.com or visit your favorite member center. Coast 360 Federal Credit Union. Together, we thrive. Terms and conditions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts of Guam Training every morning on The Ray Gibson Show.
You've worked hard and you want to move up, but how are you going to do that? I'm Jerry Robertson at 7:20 a.m. on The Ray Gibson Show. We'll have some advice on how to prepare yourself for promotion.
You can find daily transcripts of The Extra Point at guamtraining.com. Tune in every weekday morning at 7:20 for The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts. Brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and First Hawaiian Bank on 93.3 The Point.
You never know what's going to happen. We saw that, like I said, my friend Will sent me a flyer on that, and I thought, well, this would be an interesting conversation on the phone, and as it turns out, they were right around the block, so Austin brought them all in, and not a bad time had by all, I think, in the studio. I learned a lot, and there might be ways. I learned this from my mom, actually. One of my favorite things was beachcombing with my mom. And we'd go and just look around there and pick up rocks and branches, and she'd look at something and go, I can make this out of that. Or I can take this and that, and I can make a whole other thing. And like I said, usually kind of decorative, and turn them into gifts for family and friends. They're totally unique things that you might only be able to find if you're walking around collecting driftwood and all of the flotsam and jetsam that is coming out of the water these days. I'd recommend, if you've got nothing going today, walk down to where's it, Sleepy Lagoon over by Jimmy D's and see what the ocean has washed up. Yeah, I know, sewage treatment plants right over there, but try to eliminate that from your thoughts. Run by Tumon and see what has been washed up from the store. You'd be surprised at some of the junk that is in the water that is left over by tourists and fishermen and you know, what do they call them? Snugglers? No, not snugglers. You know,
just don't
snorkelers.
Just don't dig Mars bars out of the water.
No, leave those where they are. But go and see what's out there and something that you might be able to turn into something artisan. I don't know. You might be artisan. They got a different kind of. They've got the flaky kind of seaweed that's down there. That's up and down Tumon now. A little one with tiny little things of sand. It's flat calcium things down there. And I'll bet you, if you had the time and the skills and the money, you might be able to. You know what? Let's make puka shells again. Can we? Can we make it? Let's make it 1977 again. Puka shells. And what was it? What was the other one? The thin one. It wasn't made out of the shells. It was made out of something else. And you take thousands of them and strand them into a necklace. And only the cool guys got that. or the cool girls. Pam Duvall is listening. I'll bet she still has hers. 9:42 in the morning, the Island Circular Economy Industry Workshop, 9 to 5 tomorrow at room 235, Leon Guerrero, SBPA at the University of Guam. Miracle can get you in 4820254. Now, last items, I suppose, on the table of contents. It's Monday, so I haven't really had a chance to go through too much of it and, kind of riffing out in the open about it being the last day of summer of 2019. And so I wanted to riff on that just a little bit more, and talk about among the things that you need to do. I'm going to find it. See if there's a picture that I might be able to scare up for you of something I found on Facebook the other day, and promised that this is something that. I need all of the parents. If you got a kid in the car, that's great. But if you're not, then I need you as parents to talk to your kids about doing this, because it is the first day of school tomorrow. If you see any of the following: another student struggling to make friends, another student being bullied, a student that is shy or not with, quote, the in crowd, and a student who eats lunch by themselves, be a leader. Isn't this what we're training our kids to be? Leaders? So here's the tool to give them. Be a leader. Go to that kid, son, and say hi. Smile at them. Ask if you can sit with them at the lunch table. Include them in any activity. There's new kids that are coming in from all over the place, different islands. In fact, you never know what that person might be facing inside or outside of school. Your kindness will make a huge difference in somebody's life. And it will probably make a huge difference in your life. Some of the, you think about some of your best friends might have just started off as being that weird, awkward new guy in school. I remember when I was weird, awkward new guy at school and attending St. Anthony School. And I tell you what, it was I considered a great privilege when one of the other cool guys from school brought me in, let me play basketball with him, let me let me play dodgeball, and for the once not be the smear the queer guy, right?
Right.
That's so important. So there's that meme is floating around on Facebook. So cut and paste it and see if there's a way that you can send that out to as many young people in your life. I think it will be natural and rewarding.
I sent you a pretty cool picture on the Point WhatsApp that I got from Facebook. Yeah.
Let me see it. Let me go and look for it right now.
You'll know what it is as soon as you see it.
I'll know it when I see it. Okay. Oh, this one here. Is it 71 or 1977? I thought the caption said 1977.
It might have been. I thought it said 71.
Your
70s.
eyes.
Yeah.
Well, it couldn't have been 1971 because in 1971, I think it was just construction on the Hilton that would have been at the other end of it.
Okay, yeah.
And the big white building in the middle, I'm trying to remember which one that might have been. It's funny because they look big now, but I'm sure that might have been the Tropicana or someplace like that over by where the Fiesta Hotel is.
For me, it's just a shame. I mean, hotels and everything, that's all nice and everything, but they should have left a lot of this beach just like it is.
Oh, well, it's private property, buddy, and people can do what they want to with private property.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if they want to sell it to somebody and make their lives better, lives for their children better, I'm not going to fault anybody for that. But the truth is, Tumon became what Tumon became.
Yeah.
But there are other places on Guam, and as much as I like Tumon, and I love getting my grill marks not too far away from where this picture is being taken over by the reef. As much as I love going down there, it's not the only place that I like to go and get sand. And there are places that look now like that looked then, and will look like that for a long, long time. And all you got to do is maybe go up a little bit north. I mean, there might not be a TGI Fridays or an Outback Steakhouse within walking distance.
That's perfect for me.
Isn't that
yes,
great?
That's what I'm looking for.
But there's spots you go up north, find somebody that will let you hang out on their property at a place called Urunau.
Okay.
A lot of that is private property as well, but very low density development.
Sure.
So it's absolutely gorgeous and pristine. I have a metal detector. And one day I was up at I was overnighting with some friends over at Urunau. Woke up the next morning and said, "This is perfect." We had a nice tide come in and washed away a lot of the sand. So I took my metal detector and walked mile in one direction, mile in the other direction. And you can walk a mile in one direction or another up at Urunau with my metal detector. Didn't find a thing.
Really? Wow. You
Didn't
would think.
find a thing. No bottle caps, no pop tabs, no condoms, wrappers, nothing. Nice. It was gorgeous. And as far as I know, I didn't get any treasures or anything, but it was nice walking on that treasure, and it was nice not having to find any junk. And I'm sure the same thing can be said about all kinds of other beachy kind of places around the island. Tumon is what Tumon is, but there are other places on Guam that look just like that now. And all you got to do is go off the beaten track and find. I've been hiking a lot these days, and that's number one, I've got the time, and number two, the people that I hike with are just awesome, fast hikers. But the other thing is, in the last year that I've been hanging out with these guys, I've seen more Guam than I had seen in the 56 years prior. It's amazing what's out there, and some of it is natural. You get up to these falls, and it's like a cathedral. They're so big and massive, and the water falling from the top, and you just wonder how it is that you got as old as you did without ever having known that these things were there before. The other cool thing is every once in a while, while we're fast hiking out there, all of a sudden we'll come into a water pipe that you can drive a car in. It's so big. They're massive. And they're not being used anymore. They're just parts of some ancient alien infrastructure that's still there. It really is kind of fascinating. And I hope you get a chance to. There's two good books out there. You got the Making Tracks, what's his name? Dave Lotz's book, and then you can go pick up a copy of the Guam Daily Post. In the back of, especially on Fridays, they've got an article that's written by a team of hikers that is just absolutely well written and will take you safely into some of Guam's more unique outdoor activities. Talking with these guys in recycling and all of that program, and it was fun conversation that was going on Facebook as well. Good morning, Ramon. Did you guys give away tickets for Brian McKnight? I don't have tickets for Brian McKnight, but I do know that they have added a Section 8 section over at Brian McKnight's. It's like $75 tickets as opposed to whatever the going rate on the other tickets were. I like Brian McKnight, like the promoters. I wish them very, very good luck in that one. James Howard talking about using hemp as a plastic non-toxic will break down to dust particles in like 30 days. How does that? The problem is I'm going to want to be able to buy beer and or something and put it in a plastic plastic device so I can hold on to it so I don't have to drink it right now. But what's the hemp alternative to that? Is there a way? Is there a hemp bottle that you can hold liquid in for an extended period of time so that you can ship things from a bottle or a manufacturer to Guam? Nate Horn, the Manupko have been reusing for ages. My grandma always used the cookie tin for her sewing kit and the butter bin for Finideni. Amen to grandma. Don't forget the Tupperware. I can't believe it's not butter, and Cool Whip containers, just to name a few. Yes, we all have them. We all have them. I get yogurt, right? I get the pint yogurt thing, and so I've got a ton of those at the house as well, and I use them holding screws and nuts and bolts and things like that. Put a piece of tape on it so you know what's inside, and then it's not something that's over at the place. And I'm not a tree hugger. You guys know me. I'm not a tree hugger. I don't generally go out of my way. It's just that there's a sense of home economics that I don't know that we're teaching our kids. I mean, some of the things that you and I are talking about right now go back to the old days when it was home economics. If you look at old pictures of people on Guam back in the 1950s, you will note that many of them are wearing dresses made from rice sacks, because it was good cloth. I mean, if it held rice inside of it and lots of it and was used for shipping, then chances are pretty good it's going to do a decent job of holding your body together. And so there's a lot of people that would get the sacks of rice closed and turn them inside out and put some needles and thread on them and make them dresses. Eddie Cruz, going to the conference tomorrow, have begun a program to recycle plastics. Eddie, me and you, buddy. Me and you. We'll get northern, central, and southern, or better yet, because you like to drive. We do one of those things, and I'll bet you we could probably get it paid for. We just go and say to people, we'll take all of the glass that you have in your house, and we'll pulverize it for a jar of mayonnaise. That's going to be 5 cents. You got a wine bottle, that's 10 cents. Champagne bottle, a little heavier, it's going to be 15 cents. And we'll pulverize this stuff. And if you want to keep the glass out of it because you paid, no problem. If not, we'll take it. And Eddie, you're enough of a mechanic to know that there are ways that you can use that pulverized glass in your sandblasting machines. I'm not a sandblaster, so I couldn't tell you whether or not that's a good grit medium or not. But what the heck, if it works, then it works. Can you also use that stuff? Because you can make it real fine particle. Is it possible that Guam could be making its own sandpaper? There's an industrial device and something that we might be able to sell everywhere. Just a thought, just playing around with it. But somebody has got to be able to do, and it's simple entrepreneurial planning work. Go online. What's the price for a pulverizer that will punch through this kind of glass easily? And let's get a whole bunch of those. We'll stick them over at the mayor's office, and we'll put a timer on it, like they have on those little chairs at the mall, where for $10 you can use my machine for 10 minutes. And throw as much glass as you want to. And you can keep it all or you can leave it there, but you will be doing better by way of the environment. And even if there is no technological outcome for the waste material, the pulverized glass that comes out of it, it's safe, it's inert, obviously, and it won't cut you because they've pulverized the cut out of the glass. So technically, you can return it to its source. You take this glass that is now basically pulverized sand back to the beach. Maybe there's a construction use for that. Maybe it's even better to mix in with cement, right? I don't know. Anyway, 9:54. My producer's looking at me like, "Are you just going to keep talking, or can we pay some bills?" Fine. Here it comes.
Half a day. Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. I'm Jade Uggan of Umatic, and this is where I start my day. Listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Protehi itanonmo. Protect your land. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Mezcla Chamorro Fusion Bistro brings you island hospitality with a true taste of modern Chamorro cuisine. A bistro look that feels like home. Their menu features local and traditional flavors with a twist. From their famous Kelaguen Hafa to fresh ahi poke salad and their award-winning barbecue ribs. Mezcla takes your favorite local dishes and serves them with extra flair that you'll only find at Mezcla Chamorro Fusion Bistro. Stop by their newest location in the Grand Plaza Hotel in Tumon. For reservations, call 969-2652. Mezcla, a true taste of Guam.
Yeah, buddy. Eddie Cruz and others online talking about that picture that you posted, Guam 1977 in the the post-hippie disco glory era, but there was a time where there wasn't all that much going on in Tumon. If you can imagine, Pleasure Island was nothing but boondocks and apartments. It's just crazy. You needed sometimes a 4x4 to get you into your favorite beach spot, and it's possible that your favorite beach spot might have been eroded. A little-known fact about that place is when I was a little boy, sinkholes galore. And you could drive up. The place that you loved could have been there last weekend. You barbecuing with family and friends and laying out there and getting grill marks. It's possible the next time you go there, you can't get to it because there's a dip in the road. There's about 40 feet down. And I'm not kidding. I don't think I'm exaggerating on that. Eddie will remember all of those times, and so will Pam. You take a look at that picture and dig out your old pictures. That's what we need more of, guys. If you don't mind, and everybody's got a scanner on their phone, so dig out some of those old pictures of goofing off in Tumon Bay and East Agania and out on the Sleepy Lagoon side. We all got pictures like that, don't we? And get those and post them up so that the kids that are watching and running around social media today get an idea of just how awesome we had it when we were growing up. You remember back in the day where you could count on one hand the number of street lights between Sumai and Anderson Air Force Base? Oh, those were the glory days. I tell you what, back in the day where you didn't have to stop, there was no traffic. There was no traffic. We didn't have medians on the streets anymore. Arguably, they were more dangerous than they are now because we didn't have any medians. I mean, there were head-ons and bumper-to-bumpers all the time on the Guam roadways from once upon a time. But back in those days, we didn't have a whole lot by way of lights. I mean, you could almost close your eyes, right, guys, and go, okay, there was a traffic light here, and then it was a clear shot all the way to the Paseo, and then there was a traffic light there, and then it was a clear shot all the way to the ITC building. This is before the ITC building. I'm trying to remember what we called that intersection before it got there. It was Gibson's maybe, but Gibson's predates the ITC building by just a little bit. And then there was nothing for a long ways after that. Maybe there was one at the airport, and then I want to say down into Tumon. But once you got past Wai Sang Song up in Dedido, that's it. Next light you were going to see was going to be at not even a light. It was just, there's Anderson Air Force Base. That was the way I remember it in my head. You might have it different because you're older than me, but what the heck. I got to go. I got to start thinking about getting to go. When the guests walked in, I didn't have a chance to finish what my thoughts were on this story about AG leaving Camacho, saying we need to justify charges. Him waking up going, hey, we went from a felony down to a misdemeanor. What the heck is that all about? I'm not sure that I want my attorney general having to ask himself that question. I think people need to come to you and justify what's going to be happening with that. Camacho, who has a background as a defense attorney, said he has had many cases with defendants going through the adult drug court who were picked up, quote, with a pipe while on pretrial release. He says, do we want to put that person in jail for 5 years because they're on pretrial on a drug case and got caught with another pipe? You serious with that question? Yes, we do. They're on pretrial release for messing around with drugs, maybe intent to deliver. And the idea was, listen, we're giving you a chance to get right with Jesus between now and time for your trial. And what do? You're going out there and buying some more meth and smoking some more meth? Yeah, that to me is there is no clearer sign that you need to be incarcerated and maybe corrected under the guidance of the watchful eyes of the Department of Corrections. I know that sounds facetious. I didn't mean for it to. I'm just saying there's a couple of question marks on that article, and I wish I had more time to riff on it. Maybe tomorrow. The radio station that you're listening to right now, and thank you for listening. I'm here, and I'm glad you were there. We're KUSG at Got You. 93.3 is the point. For Michael Knight, Kevin Kerrigan, and Blake Watts, and everybody else makes this so much fun. Thanks for being there, and we'll get caught up tomorrow morning, right? Gotcha. 10 o'clock, this is the point.
Autopsy performed, results will have to wait. I'm Jane Metzler, Fox News. The medical examiner waiting for further information before determining just how Jeffrey Epstein died. The 66-year-old accused of sexually abusing young girls for decades, an apparent suicide by hanging, but that is unofficial.
Chief Medical Examiner Dr. Barbara Sampson says that the request